What was this week? Is it fortified? No, never mind. Well, let's say that's a tough pull, but not that tough. Not on a 16. You lusted right before that boss that you lust on. Nice. Mhm. God damn, you have a lot of backspace. What's that like? Yeah, come on. You can pick up things and not have to fucking throw something away. Whoa, does your cursor do casting? That's that's kind of cool. Yeah, that's like a dynamic scribble. Your stream is going purple. What the fuck? Your stream's purple. It got progressively more purple on my screen. Yeah, and like it's red on the side. Yeah, it's like the nameplates are fine. Nope, now it's back to normal. If you guys don't die on this boss. Oh yeah, the Koreans do like or so they like fucking go up at the end of the sentences. God damn, that was funny. Sound like you were fucking narrating a fight. Damn, I played Don't Scream for 51 minutes. Yeah, that's some bullshit, bro. No, I'm fucking just staring at the play button. Make them purple. There we go. Test, 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 test. Test. Ah! Okay, so that's too loud. Alright, so I can't do that. Ah! Oh! Alright, that's perfect. Ah! Alright, that works. Alright, that works. That's perfect. Alright, I got it perfect. That way if I flinch, it'll fucking kill me. It's on my microphone. It's on my fucking actual mic, my big mic. I'm gonna mute my Discord mic whenever I start. I'm just getting ready. Alright, I'm going. And I muted them. So now, let's do this. Wait, is that working? Oh, no, it's not clicked. There we go. Fuck. Yeah. My controller's not fucking connected. Hang on. I gotta. Yeah. There we go. Mute that. Go into Bluetooth settings. Alright, there we go. Okay. God damn it, motherfucker. Fucking hit my controller on my thing. We're going right back in. Beat this game. Gotta beat this game. Gotta beat this game. Didn't mean to go this way. I'm fucked. Holding my fucking breath. I can't breathe. God fucking damn it. Fuck! I don't like this fucking game, dude. This fucking game sucks. I'm already sweating like a motherfucker. This fucking sucks, dude. Fuck this game, bro. I'm already like sweating like a motherfucker. No, I don't want to play. I don't want to. Just pause, bitch. Hang on. Give me a sec. Fuck. I was like, whenever I was walking past the plane, I was like talking to myself, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not gonna be scared of nothing. This fucking game's not, like I was talking myself up. I was like going through things in my life, and I was like, yo, you've been through way scarier shit in real life. This thing's fake. And then the fucking lights went out. And everything fucking changed, bro. As soon as it goes nighttime, everything fucking's off the table. It's fucking nothing matters. Fucking scared shitless immediately. Oh, he's out of town, but he would get a fucking hold run into the wall. Yeah. One more hit. Give me a second. I don't breathe. That's the problem. I stopped breathing. Yeah. Don't do that. God, I'm glad I have you guys here. Don't piss me off so fucking bad. I don't even know what killed me, honestly. I think I flinched and then I hit something. Yeah, it was coming up on me. Alright, I'm gonna turn the game volume up a little bit. Alright, let's go. Go on the fucking plane. I'll go in the fucking plane. You wanna go on the fucking plane? I'll go on the fucking plane. Get the talk boxes. I'm running. Figure out how to run. Go on the fucking plane. Let's go on the fucking plane. Fucking plane. That's how you get in the fucking plane. Play this game. Fuck. Did it not? Did I press the button? Off buggy. Storage locked. There we go. Alright, well, that does that. And we're going to go to manage and uninstall. Alright. Good, I'm glad I got that over with. I'm fucking soaked. Thanks. That was the trick. If I keep all my muscles as tight as possible, I can't jump and kill my character. I was trying to fucking go back to the house, to the graveyard house, but I kept fucking winding up back at the mart. I went in like I was pointing myself in a line because I was going to the left of the plane because I was in the opposite direction of where I started, so I knew it was to the left of the plane. And I kept going there, but I ended up at the fucking mini mart again. Hide the game. I hit it from my list. My back hurts.
I wish I could get back to my books. Is there an item? Pass through.
What are you playing? Oh. Oh my god.
Where are we?
The War of the Shifting Sands. Take care to avoid the combatants.
What's paladins?
The Pandaren.
Alley
I read
vest here.
about this. Those Mogu were vicious. Go, Pandaren! Kick their ass!
Zera.
Authoritarian regime
Oh.
to the curb!
Pally's metal. Yeah. Demon Hunter? I guess that makes sense. They do a lot of fucking damage. Really? Shit, I'm gonna go level up my fucking Demon Hunter.
So many books, so
Well, I
little
like Demon Hunter
time.
70, so I guess I'll go
We
level
will
up.
find
But
time. It has been a time.
So, this is far in the past, right?
Yes. From before the Titans found Azeroth. This is when the Elemental Lords made war on the Black Empire
Pally, you're still
of the
S tier
Old
in my
Gods.
heart.
Will follow him to the deep places. The dark waters will flow in his wake. I know you.
Yeah.
What you
Yeah.
look. It is Ambassador.
I am so
Or-
glad you're here.
Pride.
We're definitely in a bit of a
If anything, we got
situation.
buffed. Pride Pally's got. The only thing they kind of did with the last couple of patches is they nerfed Word of Glory, but our all fuels are kind of fucking crazy as prop alleys. My Shield of Righteous and my raid spec heals everyone around me. And I use it for like 5k and I use it every fucking second, so. Bullet Quarter. That is, Bullet Quarter is you can use Word of Glory or Shield of Righteous 3 times. It doesn't cost any holy power.
You have already lost.
They like Pallies too much.
You cannot succeed. Your cause is hopeless. All of your friends are dead.
Later, Bob. I'm gonna fucking be checking out the new patch on the road, boy.
You
I bought a monitor for it.
die.
I am also relieved not to be stuck with you for
Yeah.
eternity.
Yeah, I bought a 15-inch monitor for my ally. Yeah, for the fucking van. I put it all on a box, bro, and I sit in the little passenger seat, and I make a little makeshift desk, and fucking hook the fucking everything up to the monitor and everything. It's a full fucking setup, and I run 2 displays. I'm running Discord on my ally, and then WoW on the main display, on the big display.
Your friends.
Yeah, it's fucking funny, dude. I took my setup at home and then made it miniature.
We'll meet again. We just need a moment.
Less chatter.
Yep, exactly
more
that.
focus.
Yeah, it's cool. The monitor I got. Something it's off of Amazon, but it has like an iPad case on it, so it has like it's like a cover, and it also is a kickstand. Yeah,
So grumpy.
and it has onboard audio, which is kind of crazy. I didn't think I had speakers built into it. They stuck did, but
Remember your training.
yeah. I was surprised. It was like 70 or 60 bucks for 1080p. It's only 60 hertz, but fuck it. Yeah. Yeah, it's slowly getting more and more ridiculous though. But now I need to buy a battery pack that has a wall outlet on it because the van won't charge the ally while it's running.
Keep going,
No. The only thing that's in the van is a USB-A and a USB-C, and they both don't run at 25 watts, I'm guessing, because that's what the ally needs. But it needs 35, but... Yeah, like, they, I have one, but apparently it doesn't work anymore, but I found one online that it has, like, a standard, like, household plug in it. It has one of those, so I can plug in that directly into the ally, so it has that, and then it has, you know, all the other shit. But it's about probably 6 or 8 inches long, and it's like a brick. It looks like a fucking brick that you like build a house with. No, it's some off-brand bullshit on Amazon. I wanted the Anchor one, but they're like 130 bucks.
I knew you'd turn up eventually.
Oh shit.
The sands of time are plentiful.
Yeah. It has to be able to output. It needs like 35 or 50 watts, some bullshit like that. Yeah, I have one at my house, and I got it yesterday, and I plugged it in, charged it up for like 4 hours, and then I took it off the charger, it powered up, I plugged everything in to give it a test run, and it fucking worked for about 35 seconds, and the battery shut off, and didn't turn back on, like it was dead again. Burning Rush fucking takes away movement. Yeah, but like if I'm slowed, it takes away the slow. Oh my god, this got fucked up. Oh. Ah, gotcha. What does it do? Jesus fucking Christ, dude. What the fuck? Fuck this. I would do the road tank, that sounds cool as shit.
I need to get closer.
Any way to bypass the magic? What do I do here? I feel like that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I seem to remember shamans being tanks at one point. Yeah. Yeah, OG 60s. What the fuck? Can't shamans use shields? Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do here.
I need to get closer.
Dickhead. Fuck! Thank God. So mages can heal? Didn't you say mages could tank? Or was it heal? That's weird. What the fuck spell do they have that heal? Talking about how warlocks can become like a demon or whatever they call it. Yeah. I think, I don't know. Yep. There. Ooh. Hang on. Can a rogue be range DPS? Can rogues be ranged DPS? Damn. They should give them motherfuckers a bow. Fucking stealth archer. Maybe not like full range. I hope they don't fucking fuck this game up. I hope that everything, because the BlizzCon was good. Everything they said was pretty fucking good. I hope they fucking execute well. Yeah. No. Yeah, they're not fucking anything up. But they're fixing a lot of shit. Yeah. Yeah. That's what they said, is that they didn't want like the same rinse and repeat of adding 10 levels, blah blah blah, and then adding more talents.
We will persevere. Time is of the essence.
Yeah. I know, that's what I fear too. Is that fucking this expansion's gonna last 8 weeks, and then fucking the next one's gonna come out, which would be shit. Yeah, considering that they don't even have War Within done yet, I don't think they can fucking put together another expansion.
Out of range.
Yeah, hopefully. Probably right. There's no way they could do it, honestly. And make it good. I did like that they kept saying, like, the new thing they're implementing is respecting the player's time and shit. It's a nice change of pace for Blizzard. It's a nice change of pace from any publisher nowadays. The third expansion is going to be WoW on mobile. They fucking honeypot us, bro. Second expansion becomes free to play. Third one, mobile. With fucking loot boxes. I'm so glad I beat that game. rogues are just hard to balance. Yeah. Yeah. We also have cloak. That's true. Hey, I like Shrub.
Welcome to the Dragon Isles.
I don't have many silences.
Guard against chaos. Go in service. Serve well.
You have sap. You have smoke bomb. I want to hear it. I'll get my paladin where I have AoE interrupts every 10 seconds. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Demon Hunters, every fucking spell they have is AoE. Demon Hunters? I thought you just said they're S tier tanks. Oh. That's crazy. Best. On fortified, yes. That was me with Quarter Star. No, just for whatever reason, I just never ran it. Month? Yeah, absolutely. Once I ran it, I loved it. But for some reason, I just never ran it. And then it got to the point where I didn't want to run a high level of it because I didn't know the fucking dungeon. Yeah. Yeah, and when you get to the big ass courtyard, if you don't know what the fuck you're looking for and you're a tank trying to lead the group, it gets real fucking messy. I don't have like a fucking heal as a warlock. Oh, I guess I got health, drain life. Oh yeah, that too. Oh really? Fortifies an enemy target into fleeing, casting for 3 seconds and healing you for 20. Oh shit. Why do you need it? Oh. Yeah, so it's all mythic. Damn.
For the glory of the dragons. Glory to all dragons. Victory in all your battles. The Isles have awakened. Aspects watch over you.
The aspects have returned. Honor all dragons.
I was granted a portion of Aman'Thul's power, great secrets were revealed to me. I captured that knowledge within this relic. An echo of what is, what has been, and what must always be. I hid it in a corner of every timeline, so that I would always remember those words. Even after I...
Embrace hope. Fair skies and strong winds. The balance must be maintained.
Honored to meet you. Stay vigilant.
Down to business.
I thought I'm running right now.
The proto-dragons are a little too bold today. Take down a few so we can study the area safely.
Yeah. We hear you, Kev. I don't know. He's saying hello, like something happened to his mic or something. Yeah.
My friend, our history together is illustrious. Surely you'll lend me your support here at the Citadel. I bring the future generation of a new, uncorrupted Black Dragon flight. Surely you'll aid us in our efforts to settle here on Azeroth.
You have done good work, but danger still looms. Will you come to the
Where are they
aid of
running?
the forces here, champion?
Huh. Well, do they know? Do they know the mechanics?
The Shannogins are retreating. We will hold the field. Get in that fort and clear out any stragglers.
Yeah. I usually try to tell everybody to keep it on the edge, but yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, I got that. So they make like a quadrant, kind of.
And with that, you have given us back our home.
Why is
Thank
everyone
you.
saying shoe son? Yeah, I need to fucking start watching some guides. I think they take it away. Oh. Maybe they just didn't know. No, they probably just changed it. Yeah, it's a fucking long channel. Yeah, the more people that make it, the shorter the channel is.
We serve once more.
Wait, what? Tank 10.2. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna watch that. I'm listening to this dude talk shit about tanks. That Stinky Gaming 10.2 Z for Bloom. Dorky. No. What do you say, Kev? What do you say? Oh. Uh-huh. What is this? Oh, it's Arena? Echo versus Liquid? They're engaging the boss with a trash. That's crazy. Yeah. Basically, I'm just paying attention to the route and how they're doing the boss. Hmm. Hmm.
Sure they don't have any major sanguine healing going out on the boss or any of this trash, but the trash is already completely dead for Echo here.
Yeah.
While Liquid is still trying to deal with the remnants of the pull still here. They have to be very, very careful about when they pull these mobs, when they kill them off, because they do not want an errant sanguine pool to accidentally tick the boss, and this is costing them a lot of time.
Yeah, very interesting. Now, Echo, of course, also putting Miras on the Rogue. That is something I don't think I've seen Miras play Rogue that much yet. So very interesting to see that one. Ryzen, of course, known to be that priest player, and Draini known to be the Holy Paladin. So it might just be a comfort pick for them. And of course, Paladin and Priest always a good choice for that healer. And as you said, fired up on that mage. Playing Arcane, actually, very interesting. What do you think about that one?
It's a very interesting pick. I think, honestly, the way Mage is on PTR right now, you could actually get away with playing any of the 3 specs. Yeah. It just comes down to comfort and what you actually want to use the specs for. Arcane has insane burst and very consistent AoE right now. As you can see, he's keeping up with a Havoc Demon Hunter, which not a lot of classes right now can lay that claim to. So it's definitely very good, but they're going to have to make up some ground here as Echo moves into the second boss's room area. And like we were talking about trash beforehand, this room is brutal. There is so much going on here.
Yeah, there's so many things happening. You have debuffs going out on players, different kinds, if you don't interrupt them. One of them is a really nasty dot that needs to be interrupted. There we go, we can see it on Miras and Frago. And there's also another debuff that shares
the one that
damage
you need to walk in
taken.
circles with?
So if it's on the tank plus another player, you need to use all of your mitigation, making sure that the other player is not going to get nuked down. We do see Sanguine being handled as well by Frago. They are using those knocks from the Og Evoker. One thing I was wondering as well is the PI for Echo. Who doesn't? They don't really have a good target for it, right? Because I mean, I guess Havoc Demon Hunter would be the target for them, but Alba Rogue maybe not.
3.5k by the end of the season.
So, because for Liquid, they would need the PI for fired up, right? But yeah, it's still some value, of course.
I don't actually. Yeah, you're right. I don't think they get great value out of it. I'd imagine it would
probably
go
when I get 3.5k
just because they're the highest DPS class in the group right now. I still don't think they scale great with the power infusion. But, I mean, you don't really have another good other target in the group, so that's probably where you go.
Maybe
Historically,
Andy.
Yo, actually,
yeah,
it could be pretty good on Vengeance. I have no idea. And Andy's doing almost as much as the Outlaw Rogue, so it could be on him, too.
All right, so it looks like Echo is clearing that room pretty quickly. Liquid is also catching up. Looking at the trash percentage, so Liquid actually dealt with a lot more trash. And I think that's in the first area, right? So Echo skipped some trash to be able to do a big pull onto the boss, but they didn't manage to pull the whole room because it would have been overwhelming. So Liquid did one trash pull first and then pulled the rest onto the boss, which means that they have this advantage with the enemy forces there. So it's still means that they're pretty even when it comes to dungeon speed right now, because Echo will have to catch up on their percentage at some point, but they're still clearing up this room, and they can't go that big because we talked about this trash being very dangerous, and that's why they're not pulling everything together. But Echo did spawn the boss now.
Yeah, it seems like almost every single mob in this room has some sort of ability that you want to interrupt.
And
obviously, Infinite Bolt Volley's 100% pry. You cannot let one of those go off because it'll just do too much damage to the group. But there are so many other things that you need to keep an eye on. Those debuffs that the healer has to worry about, they end up actually coming out more often than your Dispel cooldown is up. So the damage from that starts ramping up over time. Plus, both teams getting through that trash Liquid are on the last trash pack right now. And we're seeing our first look at the manifested time ways on Mythic Plus from Echo. This is one of the most interesting dungeon bosses I think they've actually ever put into the game. See those quadrants on the ground here. They have differing abilities that interact with the boss's abilities in different ways. One of them slows everything down. One of them speeds everything up. Ideally, you stay in the slowdown zone more often, so you take less damage.
Yeah, you stay in the fucking zone.
You get that debuff
every other time
so often on the boss. You want to move into the fast zone so that your healer can dispel you, and you don't have to worry about jumping over the rings that come out from that debuff.
Yeah, exactly. And then you also don't want to dispel them at the same time, because there are two coming out, and technically Echo would have the Master Spell for it. But then the damage happens simultaneously. Yeah. So if you're not ready with bigger defensives, then that could kill you. So we'll see how Echo deals with that one. As the orbs that are spawning as well, they kind of spawn in a circular motion, and you need to make sure that you're weaving in and out of these zones that Syro explained, speeding up the time or slowing it down to make sure that you're not getting killed by these orbs.
And it's a really brutal fight for casters in
Looks like there's
general,
only
right?
one.
Because there's so much movement. You want to spend as much time as possible in that fast zone. You can see them very quickly moving through the lighter colored zone and getting into the other one so that they don't take as much damage. You only take damage every 3 seconds in that zone as compared to every 1 second in the fast zone. So the more time they can spend kind of kiting around the boss, making sure they're not spending too much time in the lighter zone, that'll be better for their healer, and Ryzen will have a good time actually just DPSing the boss down. One of the interesting things about Disc Priest in particular this tier, their damage seems just absolutely wild, and if they can get time to sit there and cast on bosses, they can do a ton of damage.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Echo did finish off the boss and are going to be moving on to that next trash area. As Liquid is still working on 30% of the boss. As we talked about, look at the trash percentage. 20% advantage for Liquid. That's quite a lot of enemy forces that they're ahead on versus Echo. Echo now moving on, and looks like they are trying to skip this middle dragon. There we go. Actually, really cool that they don't have to deal with that one, and they're just immediately going to the next portal.
The brutal trash mechanics just keep piling on here as we move into the next section of the dungeon. This Blight area, these dragons with their pulsing auras on the group do so much AoE damage. Now, of course, again, this is sort of like an MDS-style showcase, and they've been mass pulling trash in this dungeon so far, so I wonder, are we going to see them actually just pull all 4 of the Blighted Dragons at the same time? That'd be crazy.
That would be very dangerous. These dragons are doing that pulsing AoE damage onto the whole group that is not avoidable. They will also get an enrage, but that's just for tank damage. I don't think that would be an issue. But the AoE damage that they're taking, it looks like they are doing it though. But can they? Yeah, look at that. They're already taking so much damage. Now they're popping a lot of defensives. You can see Frag on that Aug Evoker using that Obsidian skills, and Sapphire as well, reducing that AoE damage coming in. But the barrier also coming down from Ryzen, making sure they can survive these dragons here, as there's just so much group damage.
Okay, they left 1 out. That makes a little bit more sense. But still, 3 pulsing AoE damage on the group is still a lot that they have to deal with. And right after they kill 1 off, are they going to pull that last one in right now? Oh, this is brutal. 3 more pulsing AoE debuffs on the group, and Ryzen's going to have to help a lot on this section just to keep people alive here. Looks like he's doing a pretty good job of it so far, and it's not eating into his mana too much. So as long as they can keep this level of throughput up, it should be good for the group. But health bars are starting to drop very, very low. They need to focus one of these 2 low dragons down so that they get a little bit of reprieve here. The personals are starting to run out for them too.
Yeah, they used so many things. Ryzen had to use back-to-back pain suppression on himself to be able to survive, as they use all of their other defensives as well. They're completely out of them right now, but there's only 1 dragon left, so they should be able to get through this. And yeah, what a great job by Echo, being able to stagger their defensive cooldowns here perfectly to be able to survive this. As Liquid is now also in this area, we'll see what they do, as they also gather up quite a few dragons, and they do have different defenses because they have a different comp, so we'll see how Liquid handles that.
Yeah, of course, Mage is a class that does have a ton of its own personal defenses and should be fine on its own with survivability. But of course, they're running a different healer here, right? They've got the Holy Paladin instead of the Disc Priest, so I think it's a little bit less damage output, but a little bit more utility for the group. But look at the health bars for Liquid here, also dropping incredibly low, saying down to 10%. Has to get the lay on hands out of trying to keep him alive there. But it looks like they're back to stability here. Just have that just 2 dragons left for them. But it's costing them a lot of time here. Echo's already gone to the Blight of Galakron.
I feel like it's a
Blight of Galakron's second boss in this dungeon has 3 phases. So first you fight this blob. They're already done with that one as they're moving on to this dragon. And once they got this one down to 50%, you will get 2 of the bosses simultaneously, which is the most difficult phase. In this phase, you have to dodge these swirlies, and I think the corrosion is already here. Yeah, it is on Mirrors as he's giving it to Fraggle. So the way the corrosion works is that one player has a debuff. It is on Fraggle right now. It's his orb above his head. And he has to give it to another player by moving into them before it expires. Otherwise, you will be mind controlled, and it probably death. So you definitely need to make sure to juggle it between players, but it also does damage to you when it's on you. So giving it to tanks is usually good whenever you can.
Yeah, and of course you have to give it to the tank by the end of it, by the time the boss starts casting Blight Reclamation, just to get rid of it in the first place. Otherwise, you'll be juggling multiple debuffs around, and that's not something that your healer can deal with. But of course, just a 3-phase dungeon fight. We don't see these very often. Of course, the first phase ends at 80%. The second phase, Echo just completed at 50%. And now for the final phase of the fight, the boss splits into 2 dragons that you'll have to deal with. And there's new mechanics in this phase. These corrosive infusions just doing random AoE damage to the group that Ryson's going to have to deal with.
I haven't seen a Demon Hunter.
And of course, there's a Necrophos that goes onto one of the players here. It roots you, and you have to kill it, otherwise it will just slowly bleed a player out over time.
Yeah, exactly.
With all the damage coming out here, it's something they commit their bloodlust to just to get through this phase as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and that Necrofrost liquid, they have freedom, right? They have Dryny with Blessing of Freedom, so they can just use that. While Echo does not have any of those abilities to get rid of it, at least not for everyone. But they still finish off the boss, and as you said, committed that Bloodlust. Didn't actually get the full usage out of it. The boss was already dead while the Bloodlust was still running. So Liquid holding on to theirs on their side. Probably because they want to save it for the next boss, because... Oh no, never mind. There it is. They're also using it in this phase for safety. But again, looking at trash percentage, Liquid can skip so much enemy forces after this boss here, while Echo has to gather quite a lot of this. But it looks like they're gathering
when they started that pool, he
fucking
ran back, jumped forward, and blasted through.
They just have to gather. I think they have to do pretty much every single trash mob in between this and the final boss, and they're doing a pretty good job of it so far. Again, more of those portal rippers from the first section of the dungeon that the range players will have to deal with. Those are just going to go on Ryzen, so as long as he's shuffling around, shouldn't be too big of an issue. The main thing here is just to look at kicks here. There are so many casters here that you need to deal with. They have a lot of AoE from that augmentation evoker. There's the jump from the Ripper, of course. Augmentation evoker, and Ryson moving out of it very carefully. It looks like they're doing a good job slowly kiting this around so they don't get a lot of that sanguine healing. Although a little unfortunate of a fear there, but they're going to get it out very quickly.
And doing a great job as they're now moving into that last boss area. We'll see if they can get this done quickly. Liquid's still waiting for the door to open as they also finish the boss. And now Echo did catch up on the trash percentage. If you look at the enemy forces now, you now know that Echo is a little bit in the lead because Liquid still has to deal with a little bit of trash and move all the way to the last boss's area. But looking at boss damage, I do think that Liquid had a little bit more boss damage in comparison. So it is technically possible that they can catch up, but it's going to be a little bit tough for them as Echo is already fighting Iridicron.
That's great.
Yep, Iridicron, the last boss of the dungeon. One of the most interesting bosses in the dungeon, actually, I'd have to say, which is saying something, because all the bosses in here are pretty cool. Of course, this blast goes on one of the players. You have to bring it to Chromie because she'll protect the person it goes on. But right after that extinction blast goes out, everyone needs to stack up for these Stonecracker barrages, which do massive amounts of damage to your group. There's a large circle that the group stacks in and a tiny circle that the tank goes in alone. And your healer just has to keep everyone alive. Ryson doing a great job of that. Use the barrier there just to keep everyone topped off. And we're going to go into the first Earth Surge phase here. A massive shield on the boss that the players then have to just shoot.
I saw the fate,
like
the fucking double rings on the time boss is different, but
of course. And right after this, once you get through this barrier, there's going to be debuffs on players and a huge frontal that they have to dodge, and then you drop
I need to learn the other
into the position that you're moving to. So you want to make sure that you move together, that you dodge the frontal to the same side. There it is, and then you want to make sure you finish off those ads once they're spawning.
Here we go. Dodge the frontal. Ads coming out. Just got to get the interrupts on these. Hopefully, you just cleave them down with the boss. You don't want to focus them too much. They do a great job there of cleaving them down here. And yeah, they've got a pretty significant advantage here on Liquid, 5% ahead. And remember, this boss dies at 85%, so it's a very, very quick boss that you have to deal with. Ideally, though, they want to push this boss to 90% before they get the next Earth Surge, because if you get that extra shield, that's a lot of time loss. And Liquid is hot on your heels, so you can't afford to make any mistakes if you're Echo here.
Yeah, Echo is getting that next big AoE where you have to go into Chromie's bubble to get that 97% damage reduction. And now we have the tank and the group soak. Boss is on a 91% for Echo, so 1% away for them to be able to skip that extra phase. And Liquid, they are, still 96%. It doesn't look like a lot, but as you said, this boss dies at 85, and therefore the HP difference or the percentage difference is a lot higher.
Echo pushed it. They're in the last phase here. At 90%, the boss just says, all right, you know what? That's it. This one final cast, you have to get me to 85%. If you don't, you're dead. It looks like it's not going to be too much of an issue for Echo here. They've had all the cooldowns saved here. The cast gets interrupted, and that's going to be the first game of the series going over to Echo. What a quick dungeon. 15 minutes and 5 seconds on a 19 Dawn of the Infinite Galakrond's Fall.
Wow, and some of the pulls they've been doing have been really crazy, like the dragon pull.
Oh, point here. Brutal done.
mean.
I'm just trying to just click through it, but apparently it's
All right.
taking too long.
Yeah, we'll see what they have for us. Well, I always love it.
We have to
Yeah.
useful for
Really.
guys who actually go. Game number 2. Echo is on match point here, and Liquid have to pull out a really fast run here in order to get us to a game 3. Here we go.
All right, Bloodlust already running for both of these teams as the Civi does go down for Liquid as they're trying to survive here. Drady popping Bubble to be able to survive himself, and Fired Up also using that huge DR to be able to survive. Maddening Roar going out on everybody, and all of those bleeds from the cats jumping on players just doing so much damage as Drady's trying to recover. They only have the bear left, so they should be able to finish this off. We're losing the Civi on the damage, on the Havoc Demon Hunter. Definitely cost him a little bit of time.
It cost them a lot of their burst at the start of the pull here. That's why the bear lasted a lot longer for them. But they're able to kite it into the next trash pack. So I don't think they actually lost that much time. The only thing they really lost was that metamorphosis from Zasevi, unfortunately. But they're still making good time on this first pull here. Both Liquid and Echo going for similar pulls here, pulling up some of that trash from down below up onto this top trash pack. Of course, increases the difficulty. They've got some of those Night Prowlers in there as well that they have to worry about. But if they're able to deal with those charges, they should be just fine. Of course, this trash pack's going to take a little bit longer because they just committed all of their cooldowns to that previous pack, as well as the Bloodlust, too.
Yeah, and Echo also struggling a little bit with the dispels, right? Because they only have one player who can dispel a poison, which is Frago on that Evoker. While Liquid has Driny and Sang. But there we go. Liquid actually dropping so low, Fired Up, rocking that Cauterize as the bursting is just getting them really low at the end of this pull. Did manage to survive and are moving on. But yeah, just so much damage coming in from these early pulls in this dungeon. It is, of course, a 45 key, and it's 1 key level higher than what we've seen in that first dungeon.
And we're seeing a little bit of extra trash count here from Echo. They actually pulled a little bit more into this second pull than Liquid did. They pulled that bear from behind into the trash pack. And those bears do give a lot of trash count. Of course, you don't really want to pull them because they're one of the most dangerous mobs in the dungeon. But if you can get it dealt with cleanly, you can actually save a lot of count in the dungeon. And we're seeing very early use of that Rogue Shroud, skipping past all of the trash that we're seeing Liquid have to toil through here. This is saving them a ton of time. Now, are they going to potentially death skip or get through these bears? No.
You can actually just walk past. You don't have to pull
What
them. So the way it works is that
what the
there's
fuck?
These bears? No.
You can actually just walk past. You don't have to pull them. So the way it works is that there's an RP
he
that
pulled all
happens
of
to
them?
open this barrier. But all you have to do is walk up to it. Is that there's
Through these bears? No.
You can actually just walk past. You don't have to pull them. So the way it works is that
through these bears? No.
you can actually just walk past. You don't have to pull them. So the way
How the fuck do you do that?
Through these bears? No.
you can actually just walk past. You don't have to pull them. So the way it works is that there's an RP that happens to open this barrier. But all you have to do is walk up to it. There's an RP that happens to open this barrier.
Crazy,
but all you have to do is walk up to it. So you can just go all the way to the side. There we go. Echo is now engaging the first boss, Glidelis. So they do need to have one player go outside to bait that charge from the boss. And you can see it is Ryzen on that Disc Priest. And what it does, it's... Fire actually did go down for Liquid here. I believe they were also trying to skip these bears and didn't quite manage because Fired Up probably wanted to pull them away and then use in this, and it didn't quite work out. So we'll see what they do now as both Shakib and Sasevi are incumbent with these. I'm not sure if they decide to have them die and then rest them up, or if decide, because I think everyone is incumbent now because all of these ads spawn. So maybe they just decide to kill them off here.
They've got the battle res and I'm Fired Up as well. I think they're just committing to killing these two bears and then hoping that they can skip some more trash later on. This is one of the problems as well in this dungeon is that there's so much trash count. If you accidentally pull extra, it's hard to skip past a lot of the trash later on in the dungeon, especially if you don't have a rogue. So they're going to have to come up with something on the fly on what they can potentially skip here. It's going to be very difficult for them to pull off. In the meantime, Echo, with that skip that they did pull off with the Havoc, with the Vengeance Demon Hunter Leap, as well as the triple mounts rescue from the Augmentation Evoker, they're already through the first boss here. No issues for them whatsoever, and they've just gone way out ahead in the lead.
Yeah, definitely. But Liquid now engaging the boss while the Grizzlies are still alive. So they are trying to catch up. And of course, they're getting this extra percentage too. So once this Grizzly goes down, they're going to be at 44% enemy forces. So Echo, if Liquid manages to skip something later, which we're not sure because it was clearly not intended by Liquid. So if they somehow manage to skip something that is efficient for them, then it is possible they can catch up. But Echo, as you said, definitely in the lead as they're now getting into this Lasher area with the Dryads and the Keepers. Now, the Dryads are hunter-type mobs, and they keep disengaging away, which can make it very difficult for them to move them around and to finish them off because they're away from the rest of the mobs, so they're not going to get hit by all of the AoE damage. And the Keepers are the ones that actually heal the Blossoms, the Lashers. So you need to make sure you finish off the Keepers, otherwise all of the damage that you do to these Lashers is just completely wasted as they're going to be healing up to full HP. And these mushrooms, they are very deadly. They are spawning from the Keepers, and if you go close to them, I think the animation is a little bit smaller than the actual hitbox as well. So if you get hit by them, I think you just get one shot. So you have to be very careful.
Yeah, this can be a spot of the dungeon where you lose a ton of time if just one player accidentally is just in the wrong position. You lose
They're
a
still
lot
in
of
the
time
fucking
because not
first
only
boss. Jesus
are these
Christ.
mushrooms coming out, but there's also these upheavals that are coming out as well that you have to dodge. You can see the one of them right under Frego right there. Those will also one-shot you if you're in them. So you're really playing on a knife's edge in here. Looks like they actually had Miraz pop his Cloak of Shadows and run through a bunch of the mushrooms just to get a bunch of area to dodge around in, because you really do run out of them quick here.
Evoker,
You don't kill these off quickly.
Rogue.
Yeah, it looks like they are doing a good job. The Keepers are slowly dying off here, and the Lashers, they're spawning these brown swirlies that go up, as we just talked about, the ones you have to dodge. But that's all they do.
Yeah.
They're not really dangerous
But for
for
this
Andy.
dungeon,
So
yeah.
that means that once the Keepers are dead and they're not spawning these mushrooms anymore, they can just move these Blossoms
Look at all
to
these
the
fucking
next
things.
area with all the Dwellers. The Dwellers also pretty dangerous as they continue to cast a channel onto players, and if it's not interrupted, then it will fear you on cast finish. And the channel itself also does damage, so you need to make sure you get all of the interrupts, AoE interrupts. Oh, Ryzen actually going down for Echo. They need to battle rest, but they don't actually have a class that
Who's gonna
can
do
battle
it?
rest, so they have to use.
Who
Did he
died?
release? I think Ryzen
I
released.
think it has to. You release it the first boss. He'll be back with the group in about 30 to 45 seconds here. But the person we really need to keep an eye on here is Andy. And what I was talking about, the volatility of this pull is really, really
Now he
tough here.
released.
And they've got bursting sacks on them as well. They're killing off
Now
the trash
Fraggo
packs.
died.
And those casts from the Leers just pull, they just take
They're
out
all
Fraggo
dying.
too.
They're wiping.
Miraz, the cheat death popped there. Does he have anything left to keep himself alive? They cannot kill any trash mobs off because the bursting sacks are going to kill off Miraz here too.
Rogue's about to
Is he going
die.
to go down to the last second here? He's trying the Crimson Vial, just barely keeping him alive. But he's got one of those channels on him as well. He's doing his best. He tries to Shadow Step to it to deal with it,
And
but it's
there
not
goes
going
the
to be
tank.
enough. And Ryzen is still not back
might
with
as well
the
just
group.
wipe
Can
it
they
up.
pull this
No,
off?
Ryzen
Ryzen
got
instantly
feared.
dies. Back
Yeah.
with the group.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is all going south for Echo.
Yeah, they're trying to recover here, and Andy can stay alive
There
for
you
a
go.
long time
They're
on the
back.
Vengeance Demon Hunter. But whenever a player comes back, they
Yeah,
immediately
that's
get
crazy.
casted on and get
He
feared.
started
Andy
if the,
also
if
getting
the
feared
healer
now.
didn't walk
And if
in
he
when he
gets
did,
feared
he
more
was
often,
fucked.
he's just gonna
He got hit
die
twice and
because he
his
cannot
health's
use
gone.
his mitigation to stay alive here. Another fear going through on Andy as he's trying to do his best to
Yeah.
stay alive here.
Yeah.
Fraggo is back. Ryzen now
And
back
they're
too. So we do
they're
see
getting their
those
fears off
dispels
a
coming
lot.
through for those fears, and the AoE interrupts coming out from Mirrors as well, as he's using all of those rogue abilities to make sure to get those stuns out and those interrupts. And they might have recovered now, but it's still
Yeah.
looking a little bit dangerous for them. As Liquid, on the
And
other
us
hand,
Liquid just
also had
wipes
some
right here
issues
too.
on their side with their Lasher pull, but they're now moving on to the Dwellers as well. And they don't have all of these Lashers that Echo had, so it's possible that
'cause
Liquid maybe
they
has a
have
little bit of an
just as
easier
big of a
time, but
weapon
saving
pack.
does go
Oh,
down for them
man.
too.
This is brutal. The amount of CC that you have to have chained for these Dwellers to deal with to make sure nobody gets feared is really, really tough. And one player going
No,
down,
we're not gonna
it
pull
ruins your
anything like
CC
these
chain.
guys.
It makes it so you cannot deal with those casts easily enough. If you get to the point where you're using your interrupts
Yeah.
just to make sure
These
those
guys
casts don't go off,
fucking
you're
pull
already
mobs
far
into
behind.
bosses.
And
You
yeah,
guys are
Liquid did
fucking
have some
lunatics.
issues gathering up. It took them a while to kill off the Keepers, which meant that they couldn't get down to the Dwellers fast enough. And even though Echo was just on the cusp of wiping the entire time, they find a way to just barely get through that trash pull, get it down, and they're still somehow in the lead after all of that.
Yeah. Now they are fighting Okard. This is a boss that can be pretty dangerous for the tank mainly. As Tobo actually
Tobo?
goes down. I think
Damn.
that
Is he in
must
the
have been
front
a
now?
breath. Yeah, because this boss does
Fucking
do a frontal
mechanic,
breath,
probably.
and Tobo does also look to be dead in a position where he might have gotten hit by that. But they do use that battle rest.
And
Did
he
it
said
go
he got hit
through?
by a
I'm not
frontal
sure.
probably.
Yeah,
It did.
there
He
you
was
go.
waiting for the throw from the boss there. Of course, the boss will pick up the tank and throw him at the nearest melee player as well. So, is waiting for that to go off beforehand. And we're back. We're back to stability here for Echo here. Now, Liquid did make up a little bit of ground. They were pretty far behind before. They're engaging Okart here while Echo's at 50%. Both teams at the same death counter. Both teams with 5 deaths here in the middle of the dungeon. So that's not going to be a factor
So
unless
5
we
PM.
see some more of those trickle-down deaths. Both teams also committing their battle res here too, so they don't have that in the back pocket for, you know, another 40 seconds or so. But yeah, the problem with the way they're doing Okar right now, they're not clearing any of the roots, which means the boss is going to spawn a ton of these small ads, which can stack up a lot of tank damage on the group.
Yeah, especially just because this boss does so much tank damage by its own already. By whenever he picks up the tank and whenever he does his Nightmare Breath, the tank takes so much damage. But Andy seems to be fine as the boss does go down. Still this breath debuff on him that has to be healed by Ryzen. But now they're gathering up this trash in the most difficult or the most volatile area, I guess, in this dungeon. Because if, as we talked about earlier, if something goes wrong here and you have the small... So basically, these spheres that they're fighting, these big elementals, once they die, they split into 4 smaller elementals, and at some point, they cast a spell, and if it's not interrupted, they turn back into a big elemental. So technically speaking, you can get 4 big elementals out of each one of them, and then this just continues to happen. So you definitely have to be very careful, as Frago does go down, as he was hit by a knock-up, and then got hit by that blood bolt from the Fury there.
Can they get the skip? I don't think so. They weren't fast enough there. Of course, ideally, you would run away from these as they spawn, so you don't have to worry about them casting on you, but they couldn't have gotten away. They need to res up Frago here, so they have to spend time killing off these small blood elementals. And of course, the problem with these, if they cast, like you mentioned, they do turn into another one of those large elementals, which is not fun for you to deal with. So that's just a lot more lost time for them here, as they have to sit there resing up Frago. What's going on for Liquid here? What are we planning on the right side? A Wernstone skip?
Yes, it looked like it. So we had Sang jump into position, then we saw Shakib pull these bats, and then he used the Wernstone. Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. And what are we pulling these into? Okay, we've got these summoners here, which are nasty in their own right, of course. They spawn these imps as well, and then their shadow bolts just do a ton of damage if they're able to go off without getting kicked. But what's the end game plan here? What are you able to skip with this? Are they somehow going to be able to skip past all of the blood elementals by pulling this trash?
Yeah, I'm thinking that too, because they already are a little bit ahead on trash because they pulled those 2 bears, right? So maybe they can somehow jump over from this side to Dresseron, maybe, to the 3rd boss, and then skip all of these elementals that Echo had to pull. But Echo is already on Dresseron. They're already done with those spheres. They do commit their 2nd bloodlust of this dungeon. Dresseron is a boss that is a little bit easier now than what it used to be in Legion, because the pushback does not do as much damage anymore as it did before. So all you have to do is make sure that you don't get pushed too far into the side of the room, because there's all of these eggs that have the whelplings. And sometimes you even want the extra whelplings, because Echo is actually just pulling them on purpose. You can see Andy just walking around, making sure more of these whelplings spawn, because it gives you a little bit of funnel damage onto the boss for some of the classes that they have. So yeah, they don't have to worry too much about those. The only other big damage event is that earth-shaking roar that spawned just there on Ryzen. It does AoE damage into the group.
It's a 20 fortified that did half of his HP. That roar still does the damage I'm used to seeing it do from back in the day. That is a lot. If this was tyrannical, that could easily be a death event for any of these teams, but it's not going to be an issue for Echo as Dresseron goes down, which leaves just the last corridor of trash mobs and the final boss of the dungeon standing between them and a quick 2-0 against Liquid here. What can Liquid do to counteract this? Looks like they did a massive pull through this section, pulling both of the blood elementals at the same time here. They're going to have to be very careful when they end up pulling this off, because they do not want to let any of those pass through on the mini elementals that spawn. Are we going to be pulling this straight into Dresseron? Let's see.
Yeah, we'll see. They have to deal with those smaller elementals, otherwise things are going to go wrong very quickly. They are at 100% trash already, though, for Liquid, right?
Liquid's
so
at 100%
all of the trash they're doing right now is overcount, and they somehow need to skip everything between Dresseron and the last boss. Echo did also use Shroud to get past some of the trash mobs here with the Mind Suit from Ryzen as well. But Echo still needs some trash, right? So they have to deal with the last trash pack as well. That was one of those trash packs that you wanted to completely avoid in the past. It's doable now, but it's still very dangerous, as you have the imps that have so many spells you have to interrupt. You have the summoner, you have the stalker that jumps onto players and does huge amounts of damage as well. And it's just so many interrupts, so many things to handle. But Echo doing a good job as bursting is almost finishing off Frago there on top of a stalker jump there. But yeah, Echo ready to pull the last boss in a second.
Yeah,
I don't think they have
the same one. They just pulled him
percentage.
down.
So they're gonna have to go back and pick something up later, but they're missing 8%, so that's quite a bit.
I don't think the trash they have is enough. It might not be They have, okay, one mob that gave them 1.5%. I think they still have
they
one
don't.
more in the back there. I
Guys,
think it's a
go
summoner
fucking-
that's still
I
back
gotta
there.
go fucking find
Where's
some.
the rest of the trash going to come from? They're going to have to go back for it. You're right. But we have to worry about Shade of Xavius first. One of the most difficult bosses in the history of Mythic Plus. Not necessarily due to the difficulty of the mechanics, but just the raw damage that comes up from the boss. Every single one of these nightmare bolts. Look at that. Even on Fortified, still chunking your healer for almost half of his HP. And then, of course, the drain afterwards. That's the thing that really takes people out. You have to have lots of externals, lots of personals ready for that. But Becca doing a good job of dealing with it so far.
Yeah, it does look like Liquid is maybe doing a death skip as they're walking
Oh,
all
a
the way
death
through
skip.
using their
That's
AoE
funny.
CC to get past this. Now, Shakib technically does have Shadow Melt. If he would be the only one in combat, then they
Hi,
could
Bella.
just Shadow Melt on Shakib. This is actually a really cool strategy. I like it because they just use the AoE sigil or the fear sigil on a lot of these maps. But it looks like Sang and Dryny are now in combat as well,
No,
so
I
they're
think
just
they're
gonna have
gonna
to do the
die.
death skip. We do see the battle rest come out onto Sang
did a
from
battle rest,
Dryny,
and then it's
so
gonna kill themselves.
Sang can rest up Dryny, then they can do the AoE rest. It's gonna cost them a little bit of time, of course, with those 5 extra deaths for the penalties, but it is technically possible that they can catch up if they do the boss really fast, because they're at 100% trash, and Echo is not. They're gonna have to go back and find that extra 7%
Solid.
enemy forces that they're missing still.
I think
Except
the
they shoulda
closest
did
thing
the
that they have for
fucking-
trash is the stuff that's at the front
Dude,
of
they
the
had the
board,
AoE
very first
res,
trash pack that
and not the
it's
fucking
double
invoker.
imp, the double summoner, if I remember properly. A lot of casters in
Yeah.
that pack, and it's usually something that you skipped back in the day. They did skip it
Oh,
here, but they're just
with
not
the
the right
battle
trash
rifle,
count
you're
here.
right.
Liquid's going to have to burst this boss down, which is going to be tough because they don't have the Bloodlust. They use that on Drezeron, so we'll have to see how quickly they're able to get through this. Echo, after finishing off the Shade of Xavius, are going to make a beeline for
These
that
guys
last
are
trash
taking
pack
it
they
differently.
need. Is it going to be enough time for them? Remember, they have an extra
They're
20
taking this guy
seconds to
on a
deal
wall.
with here. Based off those death timers that Liquid just accrued coming into the death skip here, it looks like Echo might just have a little bit of an advantage here.
I think so as well. There's some
Huh.
things that can go wrong
Maybe.
with this trash pack, though, as we talked about. A lot of this trash very nasty with those
They
imps
pop
and with the
less?
stalkers. Summoners as well that have to constantly be interrupted, but they have so many cooldowns available for this, and just finishing this trash pack so quickly.
they won.
There it is, Echo getting that 100% enemy forces and winning the second game as well here against Liquid, meaning they're going to be the team advancing.
Yep, nice quick 2-0 from Echo there. Nothing less to expect from these guys. Of course, Titans of the Mythic Plus and rating gaming section of the dungeon, but there it is.
Back? What is he doing with
You
that
might not
pinky?
like this, but this
What?
is peak game soon. They're getting ready
Yeah.
for what and and who is the mechanic sort of the very trash in this dungeon. A lot
it's a
of
different
pressure
wing.
to kind of burn some of the trash. But I think in general here in this dungeon, a lot of
Yeah.
pressure is going to be put on like the bosses and like how teams are going to be playing out the bosses. Was Golden Guardians in invisibility potions?
It looked like it. It looked like that was how they were starting off this. It could have been a mage as well, perhaps. Oh no, yeah, yes, of course, because they are playing that frost mage. There's going to be a bloodlust coming out from
God
Golden Guardians
damn.
on this very first pull of the dungeon, and they have got a lot of trash in here. This is a
Yeah.
huge pull. Method, on the other hand, going a little bit smaller and holding
Who's
onto
the
that
tank?
bloodlust as well, which
Warrior.
is a crucial resource that they'll still have for the boss fight.
Oh my god, Sko is popping off. Look at them, top of the damage meter.
Wow, there he is indeed. Doing, yeah, it looks like a smaller DPS number than Golden Guardians, but you have to remember this is a smaller pull as well. So per mob, this is still a tremendous amount of damage being put out by that Beast Mastery Hunter.
Okay, so I mean, if we're voting for MVPs right now, Sko's got to be in the lead for Method on the
Definitely a lot of style and passion.
Yeah,
Yep.
on the damage perspective too, at the very top. Whereas on Golden Guardians, Fukage on the Havoc Demon Hunter at the top, and Golden Guardians here are able to down all the trash that they need. Are they spawning tier already?
It looks like it. We're hearing Chromie, of course, telling us a little bit of the story of the dungeon. They do have some mobs over in a Sigil of Misery over there. That's a 20-second CC.
Yeah.
Nerf then
Okay.
going to go and grab some more, setting up another large pull here. They're going to work on these mobs. Some other stuff you have to watch out for in this area. There's some
You're
mobs that
ahead
are
of
going to
me.
jump.
Oh shit, I just fucking hit the wrong fucking button.
Then again, skipping some of this Chrometer battlefield trash. The rift on the other side.
Yeah, you can see they're currently channeling to open Nerf,
Fuck that.
where you are very
Well,
close
I think once RP
for it and into the smoke crew that were incredibly impressive. Unfortunately, here you can see Halandra
for
throw damage on
the others on stone, and they give you Oathstone in the middle of the pot.
Oh, I see.
The tank slam boss, though, is going to end up being with like the group soak coming towards
Yeah,
the
gotcha.
Oathstone, and they give you haste. And that stacks up to 5 stacks. There's enough orbs for all players on Golden Guardians to get 5 stacks of this haste buff, and you really do not want any of those orbs contacting the Oathstone in the middle of the arena here.
Yeah, that does a bunch of damage and refreshes Keeper Tier's shield if that happens. So a very, very time loss thing if it doesn't end up even killing you.
Golden Guardians are blasting the boss.
Yeah, so one of the things about pulling all that trash onto boss was that they're playing with a Frost Mage who it gets quite a bit of funnel damage, right? They get a lot of extra damage to their primary target if they have some extra targets to just be sitting in that Blizzard, to be sitting in that Frozen Orb for them for a little while. So that gave them a bunch of extra damage on pull, and now, of course, they have that haste buff from those orbs they were soaking. They're going to be able to get this boss dead 3 minutes and 15 seconds into the dungeon.
Yeah.
Onesie already working his way up now towards, I believe there's a mini boss up at the top of the stairs here.
Do you think it's messed up that Method has forced Cruella off that DK and onto an
onto
Augmentation?
augmentation? That is cruel from Method, of course, to do that. Cruella, she's played a bunch of different stuff in the Race to World First over the past few years, but the Demon Hunter gameplay, there were some clips of the Halandras Demon Hunter gameplay that she was doing that were incredibly impressive. Unfortunately, here you can see her not being saved.
Yeah.
Dan gonna have to leap into that smoke bomb to end
Method's
up
all
actually
over the
landing the
place.
kick and saving Cruella. She does get the sacrifice from Roybin as well. And then
No,
gets
that
healed up
fucking dragon
eventually, so they
sucks.
are going to be okay. But you can see there's another one, and there's the kick. So again, into the smoke bomb and do the kick.
Yeah.
If I could give everybody watching this just one mechanic to remember from this weekend, that would be the one, because that one is going to kill a lot of players that are unprepared for it and do not know the mechanic.
I have terrible news for you guys at home. The tank is the only person who's ever kicked that mob ever.
Oh, no.
I feel like nobody else helps you out if you get
if you
gripped
see
by
that stun
lizard.
on you in the first few weeks, it's just over, you know?
Okay, so now we have RP maze. They nerfed this, so if you're old like me, they made it actually a lot easier to do now. It moves. Okay,
It's
so the
still
orbs,
hard.
Okay, the projectiles move
it's way
slower.
slower.
The ground effect has a bit more leeway. I think once he's getting
Whoa! Oh my goodness, that was very, very close there for one.
That was crazy.
Those orbs do all they are aimed
the last
not at where
orb.
you are, but at where you will be. Right, they lead their targets.
Okay, so Father Nerf is going to have to take the rift on the other side.
More people, faster.
Yeah, you can see they're currently channeling to open the rift here.
It takes
and once
forever
they do that,
with
that
one
will
person.
let anybody who doesn't quite manage to get through the maze just click on a portal at the start there. The more people to get through, the faster you can stabilize that rift as well. So it is still better to have everybody just get through instantly. And if you can't do that, it's better to have 4 people get through than 3. But even if you just get one person through, they can eventually open that rift.
I mean, that could potentially be like pretty large time losses for like
absolutely.
groups. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing this dungeon in some more competitive play and see if that ends up determining the outcome of some matches.
I mean, because that costs Golden Guardians probably what, 25 seconds?
Yeah, I mean, if Method are able to do that very cleanly, that could be a place for them to save some time. Of course, Method are a little bit behind now based off of that big wipe they had early on.
Golden Guardians,
but they are also
running
still working their way
meta
through the dungeon,
fucking group.
handling those spiteful shades before pulling Keeper Tier here.
So these dragons that we see on screen here, even though it's only a 19, these are probably the hardest trash mobs in the whole entire dungeon. The AoE that they pulse is incredibly dangerous. I think like if you're looking to do this dungeon, whenever the patch comes out, I would be looking at those mobs or some that you should probably be looking to pop offensive CDs on generally.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of a good rule of thumb, I think, for both Dawn of the Infinite Wings is whenever you see a dragon, that is time to press some buttons. Press some offensive buttons, press some defensive buttons.
I agree. I actually heavily agree. Because with the other Dawn of the Infinite dungeons, the dragons at the very end next to the corrosive boss are brutal.
All right, so
Yeah.
these
You don't
portals
on
that you
top
can
of the
see
sand, just the
activated
edge.
here are pretty interesting for Golden Guardians. Every time they kill one of these little mobs, it does a little burst that
The sand
dispels some of
hurts.
that sand from the ground.
Yes.
But you can also kind of get over it if you kill one of these rift mages, right? They will drop a portal that links to where the last portal came from. So in theory, you could also use that to kind of get from one point in this room to the other.
And so there's a lot of mandatory trash, and including those rift mages that you were talking about that has to be dealt with. Because effectively, whenever some of them get killed, and they get killed next to these portals themselves, they activate the portals, and these portals go to Battlefield or Morchi.
Yeah, we'll see which side Golden Guardians decide to head to first.
It looks like they're going to Battlefield.
I think they're starting over here on the Battlefield side, but it looks like they're kind of making their
taking
way
the health
over now
down?
towar's the Morchi
The sand.
exit. Walking towards that portal, maybe. Yeah, we'll see whether
maybe.
they end up faking us out.
Actually, you're right, because Morchi is on that right side, isn't
so
it?
they're heading
Right.
on a kind
They're
of a
doing what I
big
typically do,
circular
just
arc through
reverse.
this room. They've skipped one of those big patrolling elite mobs, but they've got the other one pulled back here.
Time Stream Anomaly, really annoying mob, by the way.
So they can
it
just
does like
port
a
to the other
balloon
side.
cast, and it puts the link on the tank and the like
the
one
little,
random player,
the
and then
little
siphons damage from the tank
dragons
to that
drop,
player depending on how much
it'll
damage
link
the tank
'em
is taking.
to where
So like if you're a healer,
no matter
you
what
just
side
sell it
you
immediately.
take, as
Yeah,
soon as you
sort of
take
like
the
some of those
portal, you
rage
just
tank
jump to the other
mechanics, which
side.
can be extremely dangerous and very important to handle it or dispel it immediately if you can. Golden Guardian's nerf actually sitting
right
fairly
there.
low on health for quite a long time here. Looks like Ellesmere pretty confident that he's going to end up being able to heal himself rather than needing some of that external healing.
Venge is looking good. I mean, we've seen a lot of Vengeance play so far during Guild Clash.
Yeah, absolutely. Vengeance looking
They
very,
did a good job of
very
clearing the
strong
area
in
around the
upcoming
portal too,
patch.
so you don't
Of
accidentally
course,
pull aggro.
Havoc also looking good. We see Golden
Whenever you
Guardians
port
playing
back.
both flavors of Demon Hunter, which we did see in our earlier series between Echo and Liquid as well. Method are saying, you know what, we don't need that.
Double DH is just so good right now.
Yeah, the Demon Hunters are, even though you're not getting that extra value out of a second Chaos brand, both of the specs individually are so powerful that they take so much time off of the dungeon. Golden Guardians are going to make their landing now and head towards this next trash pull. One more pull here before they can get to the boss.
So, main mechanics on Morchu, what's there to watch out for? Just time traps, right?
Well, there's several things to look out for on that boss, but yes, the traps are important, right? You have to bring your ad into those traps, the one that's chasing after you, it fixates after you, and you want to bring it into the trap in a sort of coordinated fashion with your entire group. The other big thing is that the boss is going to split into 6 different mirror images all
Method
around the
almost
room.
got fucked up.
Wow, making his way through that maze for Method. Does get there in the end, though.
Oh
Well done. By the...
oh, he's the first!
Yeah, by the head over there of Method.
He's still got it.
Opening the way now
Corella
for the rest of
sucks.
the team.
Oh, gosh, Corella.
Yeah, Corella in a little bit of a minefield here. Barely able to evade some of those.
Damn!
Ooh, a
Get
beautiful
fucked.
bait. Oh no, but a hover into another one of those orbs does get sent back to the beginning as well. But yeah, okay, so
sucks.
Morchi now engaged by Golden Guardians over on the left, and soon will be splitting up into several
He sucks
different
too.
mirror images, and then you need to get behind the one that is real.
Look for the blue hair. Look for the blue hair. That's
Yeah.
the tip.
No,
That's
they said
that's the
fuck
hot tip,
Method
is you always
altogether.
just look for the Morchu that has the blue hair.
We actually may have missed the first cast
Yeah,
that
we
it did.
did.
Yeah, but there's now the time traps and the familiar faces.
So-
These are going to be alternate universe versions of you, your evil twins from alternate universe.
they
that
said
will chase
fuck
after
Method.
you.
Golden Guardians is doing something super smart. They
I didn't
actually
say it,
landslide.
but they just took
all
Method off the
familiar
fucking
faces mobs
screen.
Can be CC'd. You know, there's like a strategy where you can like mass root them permanently, then cycle things like Ring of Frost and whatever. Golden Guardians electing to use landslide to leave those mobs rooted there.
Okay, we're finding the real one, and it's far.
Blue hair, blue hair. You
Blue
see
hair,
it?
rescue by Onesie
Yeah,
to get Azuna into a safe position, and they are able to do it. Of course, the real Morchi then does blast the rest of the platform, so if you are not behind her, it is a very bad time, a lot of damage, but Golden Guardians are able to handle that mechanic nicely as they'll now be making their way towards the rest of the dungeon. 2 bosses left for them. Next will be Infinite Battlefield. Mind Soothe used here to allow them to skip that next trash mob and all of the ads it summons.
Yeah, you typically can't, you can route through this dungeon to not go over count, but it is really easy if you were playing a lot of that trash in that tier area, like we saw from Golden Guardians, to go over count if you're not then again skipping some of this Chromie or Battlefield trash. How did you feel about them using an invisibility potion there? Not only it was not just Mind Soothe, but I think some of them pressed Invispot.
Yeah, I like it. I like sending your potions to get halving through this dungeon, because otherwise it can be very hard to get an efficient...
Is it slower to backtrack?
Dan down again for Method. A lot of cooldowns were used on those mini-boss dragons that they were just at. Does end up dying here at the start of this area. And this is actually really nasty for Method, because when those mobs die, they dispel some of the sand that's underneath them.
Yeah.
But if they die on the stairs like that, you're not getting any sand dispelled.
What the
And
fuck
that's
they're doing?
going to mean they'll have to probably pull a little bit more to be able to get the sand that they need cleared from the ground here.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Golden Guardians, it looks like,
They're not
again,
taking it in the right
will actually
spot.
do
He
end
needs to
up
bring
pulling
him
one
to
of
the
these
edge
packs of
constantly.
eels. Ellesmere does. Now, I don't think this was part of the plan, because it looked like they were
It looks
trying
like
to
they're
skip
trying to
this.
skip them.
But I
There
think
you
they're
go,
going to
bring
end
him
up
back.
having to fight it.
There you go.
That's
What
an
the fuck
audible. All right,
are
we
you
pulled this from
doing?
the boss.
Oh, it switched to
No,
Hunter.
we pulled
I
this from
thought the
trash
fucking
on Battlefield, right?
the
Because boss
fucking
summons a tank,
warrior
I
leaped.
think.
Yeah.
There's a bit of trash RP that you have to do to get the boss summoned.
Yeah, you have a couple of pulls to deal with before you're fighting the actual boss itself on the time lost battlefield. Uh-oh.
We have some more mobs engaged, some more bonus worms.
Yeah, not what Golden Guardians were hoping to see here. One's he going to hover backwards here, but now in some danger of pulling that third and final pack
Please do
of
not,
eels.
please do not pull the third one. Okay, we're knocking the mobs away from residual silence as well.
All right, that's fine. We knocked them away from the other pack of eels. So, yeah, a little bit of time lost there for Golden Guardians, but they are able to get those taken care of, and they're now going to be able to pass through this temporal barrier and enter the time-lost battlefield. Hazuna is at least trying to.
Spiteful Shades,
does need to drop combat first, yeah, so is going to be able to get through. And here we have that Demolisher. They're going to have to work on first before they can fight the boss proper.
Is Azuna still stuck on the
He's
other
not
side?
able to get through it because he re-entered
I
combat.
do see his damage going up, but only by pretty small
Yeah,
increments.
look at where he is. I mean, look on the right. Like he was stuck on the other side of the wall.
He's stuck
Interesting.
behind the
Well,
barrier.
Maybe he's got something that he's...
Yeah.
Oh! Watch out!
Can you finish that thought real quick for me? I was waiting with bated breath of what we were gonna finish.
There's a dynamite mob coming right at him.
Okay.
Onesie is down as well. Onesie actually with a cheat death proc there, but not going to be enough to save him. And this is actually turning into a bit of a disaster for Golden Guardians. They now just have 3 players in the boss
The fucking
room
mage
here.
needs to kill himself.
Azuna still nowhere to be seen. Onesie
Yeah.
is, it looks like back. But Azuna's damage number, I'm not seeing it go up, and I don't see any Frost Mage effects on the screen, so he's getting these tiny little hits of damage, so I don't know what he's effectively doing any damage.
Mage
He got
is stuck
Spiteful
behind the
Shaded
fucking
on the other
barrier.
side, right? So he wasn't able to pass through that time.
It looks like he's now in combat with
Yeah.
some of these mobs, so he's just
Yeah.
not able to get through.
Yeah, he was in
Invis
combat
already
with
used
Spiteful
and
Shade, and before he
unsuccessful
could
to try and
drop
get
combat,
through.
they
They now
re-entered
get
combat.
this Destroyer pulled, or killed, and now
Killed,
they're
yeah.
killing the Spiteful Shade, rather. So once that dies, maybe that will allow Azuna to join his team.
He got fixated by the Spiteful, which is
There he goes.
So troll.
Yeah.
He's come through the barrier, and they are going to start the next of these pulls here.
Yeah, so there's actually a couple of important things to know about the boss before we actually see the boss get engaged. I think the big one is the Thirst for Blood mechanic, where the if the boss ends up killing any of these like neutral mobs that you see fighting in the middle, whether that be with his frontal ability or with his Blade Storm, then he actually gains like a stack of like Thirst for Blood, and that makes him do more damage. I think the only other part of this boss fight that's actually very dangerous are the axe throwers. They put a bleed on you that is... It's really bad, and so I expect to see players, like throw a Hand of Justice, like we stun those axe throwers the moment they spawn.
Yeah, the way the boss will work is that it'll kind of activate some of these mobs that are out in the background.
We just shockwaved all of these neutral mobs that we see here, and so like he might be starting to gain stacks, and whenever he gains stacks of that Thirst for Blood, he does more damage to you, and it actually becomes very, very scary.
Yeah, you can see now some of those mobs being activated by his war cry there for the Horde. Those mobs activate, but are kited out. Looks like taken care of by Golden Guardians. Grommash already at 40% health here, dying very quickly.
It's fortified, it's fortified.
It is a fortified dungeon. It is a 19 keystone, so with all of their cooldowns, Golden Guardians are making such quick work of this boss. Does have a little bit less health than some of the other bosses as well, because it does sort of spawn after a few waves of its minions. Able to get behind that shockwave now, but you can see even more dodging needing to be done here by Ellesmere. Pain suppression cast on himself to stay alive.
Oh, we had the Fu with the axe. That axe thrower is freely throwing his axe. If we see people with the bleed, Fu is dropping pretty low from that. But now we have the Blade Storm and Grommash dropping pretty low. Golden Guardians able to finish off the third boss. Going to be making their way towards
That's what I
Deos
was
now.
talking about. When
Yeah,
they go through
meanwhile,
this portal,
Method
they just
over on
hop
the
to other
right-hand
side.
screen have engaged Morchi. Looking like a solid 5 minutes behind Golden Guardians at this point, but if you're a Method fan, there is still hope. The last boss and the last boss trash here for Golden Guardians is by no means a sure thing, so there is always hope for Method, but they are certainly firmly in the back seat here.
Run this one by me. What does a Method victory look like from this spot?
It would probably involve 2 wipes from Golden Guardians, but, stranger things have happened.
I've seen worse. I've seen 3. There was the Junkyard incident that one time.
I remember there was a Junkyard incident where both teams, ended up spending almost 20 minutes on that last boss, which each of them must have continued thinking, oh no, this one definitely cost us the map, and it didn't end up costing the map because the other team would also run into difficulties. But I don't think that's super likely to happen here, but it's always a possibility.
I mean, we're about to see some brutal trash. I've never gotten through this trash without a couple of deaths.
Yeah, Golden Guardians, of course, not a spotless run from them. In addition to that issue with Azuna able to get through the door earlier.
That was funny. Yeah.
They also do have a death on the board from that time-lost battlefield, too, with Onesie going down. And crucially, if you look at his debuff there, he doesn't have access to his cheat death either for the rest of this dungeon, so it's going to be a little bit more dangerous as they get their way now into this trash that occupies sort of the same space that third boss in the first wing lives.
Would you ever lust to this trash? It's fortified.
Yeah, I don't hate it, although I think the problem with lusting it is I think you maybe get finished too soon.
So the Slayer AoE is really, really dangerous. They just pulse and do so much AoE to the group. I mean, Golden Guardian's actually making quick work of the trash, so lusting it maybe not the biggest concern on a 19.
Yeah, Ellesmere there doing his best to keep the group alive. Has to keep himself alive as well. Pain suppression not available for another 35 seconds here, but is able to get through without that powerful external CD. They now stand here waiting for this door to go down so that they can get through to the very final trash wing here.
Bro.
They are at 100% trash count, so I expect we'll be seeing them skip through the remainder of the trash.
They've actually been making good use of like invisibility potions over and over again in a way that I don't think we've seen any other team do.
Yes, but of course they don't need to here because the trash that comes in this area is only in the first wing of the dungeon, right?
Yeah,
they're about to go straight into the boss.
I wasn't going to stop you, but there is no trash here anymore.
Yes, indeed. Foolish as they are about to get into the last boss of the dungeon then, Chrono Lord Deos standing here. Now this is another one with an important mechanic for everybody looking to do this in the first few weeks. The boss will spawn these orbs that will drop from the ceiling. You need to stand underneath exactly one of them to delay it for a little while. But you could stand under both as well. The way it works is that they travel much more slowly if somebody is inside the orb. So you can see there, the one that nobody was standing in exploded instantly. Azuna is standing in one and holding it above his head. And now when he stands outside of it, it will grow much more quickly and land. If two of them land within a couple of seconds of each other, it will wipe your group. So.
Yeah, and so for viewers at home, it's like an easy way of thinking about this is it's always also going to spawn on a ranged player.
Yeah, don't fucking jump, dude.
And so if you have like a composition that only has like one
wipe the
ranged
fucking
player,
group.
then it will only go on them. Golden Guardians actually have 3 in their composition with that H Priest. Mistweaver Monk and like Holy Paladin count as melee for the purposes of this mechanic. So you can actually predict on pretty reliably, depending on your composition, who it's going to go on. And so you can call out who's supposed to drop it, who isn't. But Golden Guardians, yes, it's going to explode.
No, it's fine. Okay.
Damn.
There's 2 stacks of debuff. You can see defensives already popped though by everybody.
Defy Fate proc.
Yeah, they got it. Yeah, they almost fucked themselves.
Guardians, they're able to just barely survive that. As you
They
can
caught
see
it at the last
if
second.
you mess up the coordination on that mechanic a little bit and have them both exploding at the same time. The boss now activating these portals, summoning some more adds. These need to get killed off quickly, these portal masters.
Yeah, they go on range.
I think they're going to be able to kill this boss off in a pretty short time.
Yeah. Once again, we have these.
We're okay.
Are we going to get the second stack
I think
here?
we're not okay.
Yeah, we're fine.
No, we're fine. Okay, got
it. That was close. That was extremely close there as Azuna ends up barely catching his in time to be able to not have
fucking
it
say,
slow
I'll
for a
always
second
stay in
back.
mine.
And Chrono Lord Deus now at 9%, flying around and battling those early young versions of all the 5 aspects there.
I don't know how
They're
they're
going to be able to ground the boss here with just 9% of its health left.
Golden Guardians did a great job being able to kill off those ads and get the boss sub 5%. On the right side of our screen, Method, I feel like they just had some issues early on with those trash mobs in front of tier, maybe a little bit more conservative pathing. Kind of left them a little bit behind.
Yeah, they are working on that battlefield now, but they will not be for long, as once Golden Guardians get this boss killed, we'll be heading into a second map. Method definitely, you know, quite a bit slower this time around than Golden Guardians, but there was that full wipe, like you said, that if that hadn't happened, things would have been a lot closer here.
I think it's like more of like a PTRK thing too, right? Where we're typically watching like an MDI. Obviously, these are like show matches at BlizzCon that we're doing, right? So typically, whenever you're like watching these people stand on a spot where, you know, the fact that you are the person that's like the
down
using
take
we're going
and my heart broke for him.
How do you feel about Nerf or Fu, maybe?
Of course, yeah. Either Demon Hunter, a great option for that kind of award, but it does look like we are approaching our game. Indeed, we are in. Both teams heading over to the left here. Now, this was another common way that you could do this dungeon. This was often how you would do it on live.
Oh my God.
Golden Guardians are going very, very large here, including a Colossus joining this pull. Sigil of Silence is going to be doing a lot of work here. As soon as that expires in a few seconds, these mobs are going to start free casting.
Look at Ellesmere. Okay, so Ellesmere, we were talking about those no path available spots. Ellesmere is on a no path spot. So there are juggernauts in this pack that like charge the furthest player, or actually they charge players at range. And so by being in melee, like you see from the Ellesmere, for
oh my gosh, it did cost them their lust, and Method instead got 14%, but they sent out of that one. They then headed back over and are pulling a bunch of swords, it looks like.
Where are we going? Looks like we got stalkers as well.
Yeah, I think Method's go there may have gone to do a little bit of a misdirection. grab these mobs, and then they're able to get them all taken care of nice and quickly. Not a lot of percent there, but these mobs did need to get killed at some point.
That's true.
Now they're making their way forward, so it's not down to Razan just yet. They're going to just take out a bunch of trash. Meanwhile, Golden Guardians already have Priestess Alunza pulled over on the left here.
With the trash.
Yeah, this is very scary. A lot of these blood pools here need to be taken care of, and what you need to do is you need to get one person to soak each of the blood pools so that when this transfusion comes out, the boss is soaking up cursed blood instead of good blood, which causes the boss to take damage instead of heal.
So good news, bad news. Good news, this is actually very fast what Golden Guardians are able to pull it off. Priestess Lunza typically kills herself with those blood pools that you were talking about. The bad news is this pull is incredibly dangerous, but they're doing a great job. So the Spirits of Gold, you see them using Ring of Frost or roots and stuff like that to make sure that they're maintaining CC on them, and they were able to get that trash killed off. They're not focusing any damage into the boss. They are just absolutely blasting that trash as much as they reasonably can.
Yeah, this is looking very good for the Golden Guardians there. 12% now on Alunza. Meanwhile, Method have dropped down and are fighting off Razan here. A couple of Pterodaxes in there as well. Those need to be kicked or else they will fear your whole group. You also need to line of sight this terrifying visage cast, which you can see the players there using those little staircases to do.
Okay, this pursuit's baitable, by the way. So you have to have 2 players in melee and then 2 players at range, and then you can bait who that fixate goes on to. But Sko not feigning death on that fixate.
So it's baitable, but because of the way that this was going, they actually ended up having to hide to line of sight and ended up going on Sko, but then he was kind of caught in the corner, and then a fear went off there.
I was about to say, did they have a fear go off for the pterodactyl?
It did, but it looks like they're able to recover this. They're able to send one of their battle reses, get Method Sko back up there. And they have now their whole team still alive. Another terrifying visage cast comes out, another line of sight from the entire group, and they are okay. Except for Royman
feared.
Ends up getting feared, runs through one of these piles of bones as well, which is going to reanimate another raptor here. So they're going to have a little bit more cleave to do. They are just barely able to get through that, though, and they've once again handled another of these devour phases, and it looks like we're okay here. 67% now on Razan. The trash mostly taken care of. These ads that have been spawned also now mostly taken care of. Stabilized, I would say, Method are.
On the left side of the screen, Golden Guardians dealt with some of the Saurids, dealt with some of those big pterodactyls that we were talking about that cast the fear, and now they have also engaged Razan, and they've pulled the Sky Screamers into the boss. They're going to be line of sighting on this visage.
Uh-oh. They're not all going to be line of sighting on that visage.
Well, somebody's getting feared. 2 people are getting feared. This is, oh, they might reset the boss.
No, it's okay.
Oh, he's dead. All right, we're good night.
We're not going to reset the boss. We are maybe going to reset Onesi's life here, although he's actually got Renewing Blaze ticking on him for so much healing now. His cheat death procced, but he had Renewing Blaze going, so that Renewing Blaze was actually looking at such a heavy amount of incoming damage that it ended up basically full healing him for every single tick. So given that each tick didn't one-shot him, they took like 80% of his health, he was actually able to sustain through that with the combination of Defy Fate and Renewing Blaze, and of course a bunch of defensives as well. So
why'd they run under the bridge?
That is, we do not get to do that again.
The problem with where Golden Guardians are tanking the boss is if the boss like
they broke line of sight for some reason
at that corner at all, then it like immediately resets.
Yeah, it starts going up the staircase, right?
Well, it's not even up the staircase, but if you like put it into the corner, like that boss will reset. This boss was super finicky back in BFA with the resets.
Yeah, you gotta be very careful about where you're fighting this, but of course you do want to fight it close to these line of sight spots,
of course,
so that Fu can get behind there without having to lose too much damage. So you can see that's why they're fighting this here. You gotta be a little bit careful as well. Some of these models are a little bit larger than others, and Fu. Okay, so I saw
it was now, a Fellblade.
This is a very common Havoc Demon Hunter thing. You're walking away from the boss. You got one more Fellblade in, but you're far enough away that it actually jumps you to the boss, which Fellblade does if you're outside of a minimum range there, and that unfortunately caused Fu to get jumped back in when he didn't quite intend to.
Straight back into the model of the boss.
Method, meanwhile, have taken out Razan and are now heading upstairs to the right-hand side of the dungeon. You can see Shelly going to throw a Shadow Fury at the stairs there. He knows where those stealth mobs are, so he's hit them with that stun, hopefully, and they'll be joining this pull soon.
Do they patrol, don't they?
Yeah, we'll see. It looks like
we got him anyways. We got him anyways. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, he knows, of course, where those mobs are. Carefully calculated. They're now working on this honor guard, this reanimated honor guard that is shooting out those puddles of green goop that you want to make sure you don't stand in.
If you remember the honor guards from BFA, those were by far the most dangerous mobs they've ever made, maybe?
Possibly.
Yeah. The bleed was very, very dangerous. It's tuned down a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little bit more feasible. Oh, Royman nearly
that's
knocked off the edge there by that storming. Dangerous tornadoes there for Method fighting on this edge, but they are going to be okay. Meanwhile, Golden Guardians looks like are setting up to
He's
get
Asian.
a Sordid pull going. Okay, it's Sigil of
Oh.
Misery.
That's why he's so
and the whole
fucking
team
precise
except
and
for the
calculated.
hunters are mounted. Looks like we're just doing a massive
Oh,
pull
no, this
here
is a-
into the middle.
He has a home
gosh,
team
a
advantage, bro.
A mid-pack pull.
Darkness goes down to try and keep the group alive. As you can see, very heavy damage on the whole group here. Those swords are leaping, and when they leap, they do a little cleave around them as well.
No
so you can see the entire
emotion.
team is spreading out a little bit so they don't get cleaved too
He
much.
is
But they
locked
don't want
the
to spread
fuck
out
in,
too
bro.
much because they want the swords to all be nice and tightly grouped inside that flame strike. Azuna here having swapped
Dude,
from frost
you
to
could
fire
fucking take
for
a
this
picture of
dungeon.
him, put it side by side, and
Fire
the
is
picture
so good
will
in
move
this
more
dungeon.
than him.
Look at the amount of damage. I think that Havoc Demon Hunter and BFA, they would play like Blood of the Enemy Fell Barrage in this place.
Yeah.
And now they're back playing Fell Barrage again. Obviously no Blood of the Enemy, but they're able to just Fell Barrage and own every single card in the whole entire instance. It's great. And look at the amount of damage that Fu is doing.
Such good work there by Golden Guardians.
Is
They're
this
now
a
making
billion?
their way here. That is indeed Billion with a B on the damage done on that pull, which that is a lot of damage.
I'm gonna have to check the numbers after that one. The math is not math, and I don't think.
Yeah, you know what? Good point. I'm also skeptical, but yeah, you know what? I'm not skeptical. These guys do a lot of damage.
Yeah. I guess that's true.
All right, we have another pull here going, although these mobs are mind suits, which makes me think these mobs getting pulled
So
may
these
not
are,
have been the plan.
These are the invisible patrolling stalkers, right?
Yeah, on the staircase.
They're
It
in the
looks like
same
they were
spot.
hit by the mind soothe, but they still
There's the
ended up
boss
getting
behind.
pulled because I don't think Golden Guardians would want to fight these two mobs by themselves.
Yeah. I don't know. Probably not. They do have double
Boom.
demon hunters, so they can like vision them out to make sure that they see them.
Meanwhile, Method are fighting Volcall here. This boss, they are a little bit ahead in progression of Golden Guardians, but they haven't killed Priestess Alunza yet, so they're significantly behind. If you can see also on the trash side, 50% trash behind, and only a little bit faster to pull Volcall, so Method certainly, again, are quite behind this time. They're going to need something to go wrong for Golden Guardians.
Yeah, one of the things too, like, so this boss, basically what you're looking to do is you're looking to kill all these totems pretty even. Method, they're killing one of their totems, and the other totem's still at 20%. Are they going to be able to kill this off in time?
Yeah, you need to kill all three of these totems within that reanimate cast time of the first totem. Last totem.
No, it healed.
Uh-oh.
It healed.
That's not good. You can see the reanimation totem there is now all of them going back up to 80% health. So Method are going to have to try this one again.
Hold on, you hear that?
How come Golden Guardians doesn't have any totems?
Those totems are now getting killed once again for a second time by Method here. You can see over on the side of Golden Guardians, all three totems already killed. They're now kiting the
boss
boss
isn't taking
around
any
here. Once
damage
you kill
because of
those
that.
totems, the boss does slowly start degenning, losing health.
It's you know, it used to be a lot, and now it's like...
now you still have to do most of the boss's health yourself, and I think that's good. I think whenever your damage is important, that's always a good thing as they're making their way around the room, carefully conserving this space so that they don't end up running into the old areas of the room that are full of, you know, last rotation's garbage.
Sure, GG's done with count here. So something that they maybe could have done to optimize this dungeon a little bit more is they could have maybe saved a trash pull, because they're going to have to wait for Yasma RP, right? Because there's that bridge building scenario that they have to kind of sit through and wait. Maybe there could have been something a bit more optimal about them running through that. But again, these are dungeons that these teams haven't practiced that much. These are just like, you know, for fun matches between the two organizations.
Yeah, this is, you know, it's not that
told
long
you.
to wait for that RP as well. And one of the benefits of going
Told
this
you.
way, you actually get to dodge fewer spiders on your way up because they're
they
just
even all
starting
ride
to
the same
spawn.
mount.
Yeah, we can look at it here for Golden Guardians once they get to that end spot.
They're fucking
that
multi-boxing.
spider spawn wave will have just begun. Although maybe they actually need to. Yeah, it looks like they're gonna have Nerf pull this trash to the side, and then the rest of the group is gonna run through, and then they're gonna res Nerf.
Is this a
here.
meld maybe?
Oh yeah, meld,
Yeah.
shadow meld, of course. The Night Elf racial for Nerf is going to be much better.
Yeah, they're fucking
than
two
what I was
bosses
proposing
ahead of them.
there.
3 bosses.
Azuna
Almost
also
3.
ended up getting in combat there, so he's going to pop invisibility. That's going to let him get through as well. And now they're waiting for these stairs to activate, as you can see.
Yeah, it's a fucking
Once they
21.
do, they'll have a little bit of free space where they see no spiders yet.
In
And
season
it's
4, you would
tyrannical.
wait for the you would actually fight the Awakened Pillar there, right?
Yeah, it's a good time to do that. You could use the Awaken to skip these spiders as well, which you know, may have ruined my muscle memory of dodging those spiders. I've died to a couple of those in 50R keys.
Okay, so
Moral of
Yasna
the story
has a
is
couple
get
mechanics.
Asian
First
and
off, I
run
think there's the
meta.
cast. Typically, it's going to be a tank's job to be able to deal with it. The other one is the Soul Rend. So there's going to summon
Fucking
copies
squint your eyes and roll
the
a
players.
Demon Hunter.
Oh my gosh, did we just hunt straight into the boss and have that?
Get the glasses. Yeah.
All good.
Are we
good? Sigil of Chains came out, and we were able to get all the mobs nice
Okay,
and
we're
grouped
good.
up. Beautiful
Holy.
work there by Golden
Yeah.
Guardians. The other thing that we're looking at
Yeah.
here is these spiders. You can see these little spiders.
Yeah.
When they get big, they fixate and chase after somebody, and they spawn under players' locations. So you really need to be disciplined with how you're moving about the room. You want to try
Yeah.
and avoid getting the
Fucking
spiders in
kick-
front of
kick
where you're
females.
going and getting yourself in a corner with spiders all around you. So you can see they're taking a good big move and making sure that they always have those spiders behind them.
This is a banger use of the ping system. I had to find ping just for this boss because you want to kind of like be stacked up whenever you're dropping the Soul Rend debuff. That
Other
way
team
you can
doesn't know
have
what
either
female
AoE
is,
CC or your Havoc Demon Hunter can Fel Barrage them and kill them all immediately, one or the other.
They're
And I
parsing
think that like
virginity.
dropping a ping to kind of group every player up whenever you're doing this dungeon like a pug or something like that is very, very valuable.
Yeah, Zuna playing ahead of the boss here, keeping those spiders in a good place for him. They're getting this boss lower and lower, though, 20% now on Yasma, and at 100% enemy forces here. If they can kill this boss, they can avoid any disasters, avoid any of those casts going off, avoid any of those ads colliding with the boss. That will be the end of this series here, as Method are still a full boss and a half now behind. And yeah, it's going to be it here for Golden Guardians if they can get this last Soul Rend done. A little rescue coming out from Onesie to make sure they're all in position. Are they even going to kill these ads? They knock them away, but that's actually going to knock them out of the Fel Barrage, but it's okay. Yasma, 3% now, not much health left on it. Down it goes.
Crazy.
Golden Guardians are going to take this series 2-0.
They looked really good. They looked like a force to be reckoned with. They're going to be playing off against Echo in the next series.
In the finals, yeah. That's going to be exciting to see, of course.
Did you make a prediction? Who did you pick to win?
I did make a prediction. I don't remember what I predicted, but I think I predicted Golden Guardians.
I picked Echo, and I don't know how I'm feeling about it now.
Yeah, this Golden Guardians lineup.
I know what you're talking
The
about.
name, Seer of the Flame.
Seer
Don't
of the
forget
Flame.
that part.
Swift Seer of the Flame.
I don't know why that's impressive. The flame is very obvious.
This is a
What
raid.
if everyone does that and the price just goes up?
Guardians. Now, this boss
it's
has a
not.
couple of important.
As soon
At the that you're in.
Going here. Golden Guardians versus, it is actually against Echo, I believe, at the,
Oh, it says
on
Method
the
at the
right-hand
top.
side.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
They are getting a big pull going, both teams here.
Again, look at these mobs. You need to really make sure that you're interrupting the choking vine cast. The vine dance is, you know, whatever, but that choking vines cast, if that mob actually stuns a player, is very, very dangerous. On top of that, the stingers are particularly deadly here if you don't have a poison dispel.
You were talking about this earlier, but it's a similar mob to those rippers from Dawn of the Infinite as well, right? Those charges that go on the range players in the group are equally as dangerous in this part of the dungeon as well, so your range players really need to be looking out on this
the
massive
game timer's
trash.
46.
And very interesting to see Echo also
49.
holding on to that Bloodlust, while Golden Guardians did commit that pretty instantly as soon as they gathered up this big trash pool. Echo going a little bit smaller. They're not going to go up to 23% enemy
They
forces
went
like Golden
left.
Guardians, but saving that Bloodlust for
think.
maybe a bigger pool pretty quickly after this one.
Are Golden Guardians skipping the mini boss? And interesting.
Looks like it, yeah.
Yeah. There's like a big mob. I think his name is Gnarlroot. Not to be confused with the boss Gnarlroot. I don't know why it's named the same thing.
Father of Gnarlroot. Yeah.
John Gnarlroot Sr., some would say, that Golden Guardians are electing to skip.
Back in the day, this trash was really brutal to get through. There's so many healers. A healer in every single one of the packs, right? So this type of pull is not something you can really do without a Vengeance Demon Hunter, right? That Sigil of Silence is putting in so much work on this pull.
You get 2 of those this patch now with the Demon Hunter rework that's coming through, yeah?
Yeah, incredibly powerful effects there. It's going to let Golden Guardians get through there. Now they're just handling these Spiteful Shades, and they'll be able to get this boss pulled very soon. A couple of Incorporeals as well that they needed to CC over on the sides there.
What do you guys think the primary incorporeal CCs are going to be for both of these teams?
The healer for sure. That's a healer job.
Do you think it's the Shackle plus Sleepwalker or something?
It's just Shackle plus Mind Control, right? Dominate Mind.
Both?
Yes.
You have them doing both?
Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh.
What else are healers doing?
The girl.
Oh, man.
Bigger mic on her, bigger mic on her. Right? She's actually so right.
Amen.
I agree.
All right, so we have the first boss here pulled for Golden Guardians. Now, this boss has a couple of important mechanics. You're dropping these little roots, right? And then that interacts with the intermission phase, too, which we'll be seeing in a little bit here, too.
So the boss starts like taking normal amounts of damage, but whenever his energy is going to deplete, like we're going to see here in a second, he starts taking 100% damage amp. And then he gains 25% energy, like you were talking about, whenever the orbs contact the boss. But like they've dropped the vines in such a way that they're kind of playing keep away.
And look where they've tanked the boss as well. They've taken it as far as possible away from the water, so that these orbs have the longest possible travel time too.
Yeah, so the orbs.
These orbs are CCable and displaceable too, right? No, they're not. You just have to
they're
DPS
they're
them down.
snareable.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so you could DPS them down, or you can let them hit these vines. If they hit the vines, they spawn these ads.
It hits the roots and brings up the
Even
ads.
though that's dangerous, that is also going to give you even more time in the damage amp on the boss.
Yeah, so there's a question as to like what you're supposed to do, like how many you're supposed to kill, and it kind of depends on, I think, on the composition. Because like Demon Hunter does not want to get off the boss. Like straight up, Demon Hunter wants to hit the boss the whole entire time with the damage amp. Whereas if you're playing with like a dot class, or you say you're playing with like a Shadow Priest or something like that, you can kind of just like slowly have the orbs wander in at 50% HP, and then the Demon Hunter swaps them and kills them off. But like if you're playing a bunch of melee, I think Echo is going to kill 0 of the orbs. They're just going to do the phase as long as they're in the phase, and then they're going to get a second phase, and it's not that big of a deal, and they're not going to try to extend it at all.
Yeah, they really didn't go for a full extend. They just went for a normal phase. They didn't. I didn't want to spawn too many of the ads there because they kept them pretty under wraps there. They'll definitely finish it off in the next phase, though.
I think those ads are fake. Like they just melee the tank.
Yeah.
Kind of chill.
Incorporeal spawn here for Echo, but handled beautifully by that Shackle Undead. You
Spiteful
can see
Shades,
on the one of them. Yes, Spitefuls as well.
Here's the Lust for Echo. Let's see how fast they can burn this boss down.
I mean, is this a Lust gap? Are they going to be able to kill this boss in one phase? So Golden Guardians are firmly getting a second phase and maybe even potentially getting a third phase. But I think that they're getting 2 full phases. Does Echo kill this in 1?
We'll see. They have to extend this phase a ton to get it through. It'll probably be longer than the 40 seconds that Lust is if they get it done perfectly. But it doesn't look like it's going to really catch them up that much because Golden Guardians is already in their second phase. And nobody's taking down Witherbark here way faster than Echo. And all Echo really got out of it was an extra 5 or 6% trash.
Oh, Foov's down.
Oh.
It is at the very end of the boss fight, so they're not going to be committing that battle rest, I don't think. They can just use the normal rest afterwards. But yeah, they're still so much quicker than Echo. Echo does have a little bit more enemy forces there, up to 50%, while Golden Guardians is still at 44.3. So that means Golden Guardians has to catch up on that eventually. But yeah, I think Golden Guardian strategy is really quick on their side. Let's see how they deal with the next trash. It can also be pretty dangerous on their way to the second boss.
Death was also kind of fake, too, because he can just release right back at the start of the instance. So he was actually waiting for his team to come back. And he probably actually got a food buff out of that, too. So not too big of a deal for him.
I have never seen a pull like this from Golden Guardians. What are they doing?
Sigil of Chains is going to group all those mobs up into this blizzard as well from Azuna, who has swapped back over to Frost for this dungeon.
The dangerous mobs here, the Berserkers and the Abomination, and I think Golden Guardians had a bunch of Naturalists in there too. The Naturalists are the ones that do the choking vines from the very beginning.
That's how they're positioned.
That was a lot of AoE damage once the Abominations actually start their cast, but Golden Guardians make quick work of that trash pull. They didn't even make it look scary, even though that is a very dangerous pack that they were dealing with.
Who knew Frostmage was this good? Doing more burst AoE damage than a Demon Hunter? That's not something I've seen in the past couple of months in Keys and PTR.
Yeah, put that down for the tier list.
Getting them grouped up that closely from that Sigil of Chains was a huge part of that, though. Getting them all into that Blizzard, all into that Frozen Orb right away at the start of the pull, really let Azuna just deploy his entire arsenal of damage there.
And of course, the PI also going on the mage here in Asuna over the Havoc Demon Hunter. So a little bit of an edge there as well, which maybe you don't always have if there's no priest. But yeah, Golden Guardian still going into another big pull on their side. This time they're not going to have that many offensive cooldowns, so this might be a little bit more dangerous for them, as they do take quite a lot of AoE damage with that dot on everybody, but they're still looking strong.
This is a sus pull.
Yeah.
Again, yeah, these Spiteful Shades at the end are also something they're going to have to watch out for.
The Berserkers.
Berserkers are just carefully managed there by them, but that is quite dangerous. They do end up getting through that pull. Meanwhile, Echo activating that Shroud that they have access to, and Golden Guardians, of course, do not, because Mira's playing that Rogue there for Echo, whereas Golden Guardians instead have Azuna on the Mage.
I mean, Outlaw also, similar to Havoc Demon Hunter, a Mage got a pretty big rework coming into this patch, and Rogue was very, very dominant early on in the PTR cycles. I thought that whenever I was looking at the Echo comp, that Outlaw Rogue was maybe the correct play, especially for this dungeon levels, but Azuna on that Mage has made Mage look excellent.
Yeah, he kind of does that all the time, right? That's an Azuna special. Even on seasons where Mage is a little bit less popular, he will often be seen just topping the meters, and look how much damage he's doing on that Frost Mage on this pull. Survivability, a little bit of an issue here for Golden Guardians, though. 3 players low on health. Azuna, 1Z, and Ellesmere all in danger. Ellesmere barely going to be able to get everybody survived
I
there,
like whenever they're
including
fucking
the
all
power,
taking
or
damage
the
and the
main
tank
suppression
just
rather,
pulls
committed
more.
on Azuna.
Look at that. Once he dropping low, using his last set of Obsidian Scales, as Asuna does go down. They do have a Battle Rest available, but no one who can actually use it as a normal spell. So they have to go and use the Engineering Rest, and they did, as Asuna is now back up, and they should be able to recover here. But yeah, everyone dropping so low after doing those bigger trash pulls, committing so many offensive and defensive cooldowns to be able to pull that off, and now not having much left for that plus 22 Tyrannical boss.
I wonder if they had the Toxic Bloom go off from the... So the bosses will go through phases where like one of them is active and one of them is inactive, right? And they cast, I think the Revitalize is the, like it's the heal, it's the main cast from the other mob that they're on. The one that they're on right now does Nature's Wrath and Toxic Bloom. I wonder if they had that cast go off and that's why they dropped so low.
I think they would have had to, because nothing else in this fight really does AoE group damage like that. That was brutal to get through, and the fact that they only had 1 death off of it, so they were able to battle res them off, is pretty lucky for them. But they're still not through this fight. They're only about halfway through 2 of the bosses here. Of course, when you kill one of them off, it gets a little easier, but that's still a ways away.
I mean, one of the advantages of Disc Priest, big damn. One of the disadvantages of Disc Priest, no kick.
Losses?
Yep. So, I mean, in the casts of those, the main ability on those mobs is actually 20 seconds in between them, so it's like no Disc Priest can be different.
No battle res available for another 45 seconds here for Golden Guardians.
That's
as Azuna
bad.
is down. They're going to have to just try and get through this fight. But one of the problems with Augmentation Evoker is that as soon as 1 DPS dies, it's kind of like 1.5 DPS died if it wasn't your Augmentation Evoker, right? Because now you just have 1 target for that buff. 1Z also in some danger here, does get the pain suppression. They're going to try and heal through this, but their damage has slowed, and Echo are catching up here.
There's also 15 seconds of death differential.
And they're also missing a kick now, right? They have to drop the Revitalize from Gola to make sure that the heal does not go through. And they did, but yeah, they're 1 less interrupt with their comp, having that priest as well, as we talked about earlier. Definitely causing some issues here for Golden Guardians, as Echo is now on the boss as well. They are missing a little bit more percentage on their side too. And they're behind on a boss. So I do think Golden Guardians is still fine as their battle rest is now coming up. So they can rest Asuna now if they have somebody with an engineering rest being able to get to the body as well, because you have to be so close to cast it.
I mean, do you send it? You're not even through the hardest part of the dungeon. Like this next trash, this next area of trash is one that Golden Guardians might lust. It is very dangerous. I've wiped through it many times.
Yeah, the trash coming up after this boss when we do get there, that's easily the hardest part of the dungeon. Almost every single one of the casts is entering one-shot territory, even at this P level, even on Tyrannical, not Fortified. So they're going to need every battle res in the book just in case for that section of the dungeon. So it makes sense for them not to use it here, especially with the bosses being this low. But in the meantime, Echo is completely caught up, and they're even ahead now.
Is this the Echo way?
They're still behind on trash count, so
they said
it remains to be seen. But I mean, Golden Guardians have clearly lost it a ton of time to this.
Well, are they behind on count or are they right on time?
I mean, this thing is going to be extremely close down to the finish line. Echo mounting up and heading over towards the end. Still need 30% count. Not going to head to that spider optional boss.
It's optional, yeah.
Yep.
It wasn't optional in CMs. It was required in CMs, but it is not a Mythic Plus feature. That is something that I hear players ask that pretty often. Do you have to do the spider? The answer is no.
Yeah, it's we don't recommend it. The spider is that's a bonus achievement to do in
your
keystone.
They're
that
skipping
you should only
everything
do if
that
the
Echo's
whole group
doing
is
right
down
now.
Wait,
for a little adventure.
I haven't tried. Could you actually still go do the boss if you wanted to? Like, is it there?
Maybe somebody knows, but it's not me. Don't look at me.
All right, we'll test and report back soon. Don't worry.
I have not entered there as I do not need to.
All right, so this trash that they are doing now is incredibly dangerous, as you have those pyromancers and a bunch of other casters who just require so many interrupts. If you do have multiple casts go through, it's very deadly very quickly. And on top of that, you also need to see all the incorporals, right? So definitely very dangerous here, as they're gathering up quite a lot of casters on Echo's side. Golden Guardians not too far behind, though.
I think this pull that Golden Guardians is about to do, so they're about to pull the trash that starts the RP to spawn the boss. Basically, there's a good rule of thumb for that trash. You always kick the Arcanomancer, you always kick the Pyromancer, and then you let the Frost guy cast freely on your players, pop defensives, and pray that you don't die during the Pyromancer salvo cast. It's kind of the rule of thumb. This pack is very dangerous, though.
And it's not like it's, you know, it's not like you want his kicks to go through.
No,
you don't want him
Yeah.
to cast. If you had the kicks, you'd use them there, but it's just picking the least damaging ability. Look at Elismir got hit by one of those frostbolts, took about 20% HP, and you know it's just because the frostbolt happens to do slightly less damage than the other two mobs' abilities.
Yeah, Arcane Blast and Pyroblast like one-shot you 100 to 0.
Yeah, very dangerous set of mobs, but it is, of course, required to kill them to spawn the boss, so that is why we're seeing every team fight them. Echo nearly done with that pull. Still a little bit behind, and Trashcan, though, right
down.
despite the pain suppression on himself, is going to go down
fire,
there.
ice,
Oh,
and
this is bad. Is Fraggle getting
and
popsicled?
they kicked the arcane in the fire.
All good. Not to worry.
Ideally,
been here
they
before.
want
He's been on the
you to
BlizzCon
kick all
stage.
three.
All right, Golden Guardians are going to get that boss engaged beginning in that fire phase. They have these Cinderbolt swarms to deal, or to dodge, rather, the storm. We'll soon be entering the next element as the boss cycles between. It ends up getting 2 out of every 3, right? It has 2 of the 3
Bryson
elements.
going
actually.
down for Echo. They do have another battle rest available, but this is their last battle rest. They also don't have Bloodlust available just yet because they delayed it
Grace
for
is
so
dead.
long.
Yep.
For the first one, Elismir going down for Golden
Whoa,
Guardians
man.
too. They do have a rest as well.
they burn
And
their
cast
lust.
went off, an incorporeal cast went off for Golden Guardians. Everyone has that debuff, so it's going to be very difficult for them
Incorporeal
to
cast went
recover
off.
this. Elismir now back up. But
They
yeah,
fucking
this is
suck at
no more
getting
battle rests
corporals.
for either of the two teams.
Wow. Elismir was somehow able to stabilize that, and it was helpful that he got rezzed, and so he didn't actually have that debuff from the Incorporeal, even though everybody else did when he got rezzed.
So one of the things about this being a 22 Tyrannical as well is Disc Priest not
it's
exactly known for healing
tyrannical.
on the move very efficiently, and this is a fight that you need to be able to heal on the move super well because whenever that Cinderbolt Storm is going off, that does an insane amount of damage to your party, and you have to dodge the fire the whole entire time.
Yeah, you got that Rapture for one of them, but aside from that, they are all going to be hard.
Yeah.
So, important thing for them to manage. Both teams nearly approaching the second half of the boss, rather. Echo are, and the final third for Golden Guardians. Look at the count, though. Golden Guardians actually looks like missing a 1/6%.
There are some mobs that I think only auto attack.
Okay.
Or they do like fungal punch, I think is the name of the ability. Something silly, like something really silly like that. I think that might actually be the name of it. And they just melee your tank. The fungal punch does a lot of damage though.
Okay, so Golden Guardians possibly looking to pick up some of those after this boss dies.
Elismir's
what is
down.
a
Was he as well?
Can they finish it off?
It's
It's going to be
killed
Cinderbolt Storm next, right? That's going to be a ton of damage. Can they live through it?
Nerf wins these
They just-
every time.
they just
10 out of
make
10
Okay,
it
times.
they have
we have
Darkness,
Darkness?
they have
Catch up.
Ice Cold,
Altar as
Okay,
well.
so
Altar as well.
DPS.
They should be able to live this.
They have 2 Vengeance
They'll
Demon
survive.
Hunters.
Oh.
Okay, they have
Vengeance
1
Demon
Vengeance
Hunter.
Demon Hunter.
They'll
yeah, in
live.
fact, they don't
Assuming
have
that
one
they're gonna
Vengeance
lose so
Demon
much
Hunter.
No,
time.
no. The Havoc is a vengeance in
He
disguise.
can miss the
I
2
see.
minute.
Oh,
He just
Icy
popped Icy
Veins,
Veins.
yeah.
I like it, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
the boss only had 4% health, but when it does, and you're the only DPS alive, if you try and hold your cooldowns for that, it's so deceptive. That takes so long.
But again, on the
base
last 2
release.
bosses,
Yeah.
Echo has been able to pull ahead based off of the mistakes of Golden Guardians. And even though Golden Guardians technically has more trash
Oh,
count
they're
right now,
absolutely gonna
they are going
lose.
to have to pull this trash, and Echo just
But
gets
you
to be
get-
more efficient by pulling more.
Oh, one of the things with Golden Guard. Okay, so something that's unique about Everbloom, or not super unique, but like it's a thing in Everbloom is there's no checkpoint in this dungeon. Like they're running back from the very beginning.
Oh,
Azuna
shit.
and Nerf could not res. They are running back
There's no
all the way straight
checkpoint.
from the beginning. They didn't have saviors or anything to drop.
They're right.
And the 25
they're fucked.
seconds because of the death differential, right? We have 7
Yeah.
deaths for Golden Guardians. So actually not looking too bad for Echo. They still have to play some more trash, though.
Where's Andy? What? Huh? Was it?
Are they... Did they miss trash? Are they fighting
Yeah.
percentage
Did
somewhere?
he get lost?
Oh, they must have missed.
Oh, no.
Oh, Echo just fucked
Yeah.
up.
Is he gonna Wernstone back?
Oh, that's also possible. Maybe they want to
No,
pull it onto
they
the
shrouded
last boss.
past this
Yeah.
earlier, and he has no way to get past it now.
Is he gonna Wernstone back?
I don't know.
They just
Oh,
pulled a
right.
shit ton.
Okay.
Oh, and now he's pulling
Alright.
trash.
I don't
okay.
think this was not efficient, but this is
Yeah.
I think what had
Well,
to
it
happen.
might be efficient if they can pull it
The,
onto the boss.
the
stage.
ads are gonna come
I've
to the
seen
fucking
some
boss fight.
interdimensional snapping. I don't know what the conditions are for it. I've seen it, but I don't.
Yeah.
It took 2 minutes for the mobs to show up. I didn't think it was
Yeah.
particularly good.
Oh, they are
Obviously,
snapping it.
Golden Guardians are now engaging the last boss. Now, of course, they look like they're going to be finishing off the boss earlier because they're already there, but they do have the 25 seconds penalty in favor of Echo, so we'll see how this goes as
Yep,
Echo is
there's the
now
odds.
engaging the boss as well. This is going to be incredibly close.
The trash made it too.
Yeah, the trash came with them and is coming to the boss here, so as long as that gets them to 100%, they still have a chance in this one. In fact, with those 25 seconds of extra death time in favor of Echo, I actually think they're ahead. And look at how accelerating their damage is as well.
They're
With those 2 minutes that they all had on pull here, they're able to get this boss caught up to Golden Guardian's health total.
This boss is really interesting. So it goes through cycles where the boss is taking 300% bonus damage, but every single time this Flourishing Ancient spawns, the ads that casting that laser on Yanlu goes away, and so then you no longer have that 300% damage amp. So you want to kill off that ancient like as fast as possible to get the boss into that 300% damage amp.
They still have
pretty much as
flower,
often as
though.
it can possibly be.
And you can see that Golden Guardians is pulling away with that damage up on their side, but Echo's going to close the gap here in a second when they kill theirs off too. So it's going to be a very, very close race. And it's probably going to come down to if that 25-second window is achievable by Echo from their damage buff.
What's Outlaw look like compared to Frost single target?
I think Frost is better.
Wait, they're missing count. Echo.
No. Oh my god, they did miscount.
Oh no. Once it goes down though for Golden Guardians, and they don't have a Battle Rush available for 2 minutes approximately, so that means that Golden Guardians
going down.
But where does Echo find his trash afterwards? They're gonna have to go so far back.
I was talking earlier, some of the dimensional snapping was jank. I didn't realize that they were gonna miss a mob.
Wait.
Oh,
did that mob
that's
just...
a shade.
That's a shade.
Okay.
That's a shade.
No, I said they need to kill themselves.
And there's no
fucking
bats in
pour
this
back to the
dungeon,
beginning.
Yeah.
The bat incident.
Iconic MDI history.
I wonder if they know they're missing count.
I suspect
they know
do.
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't know that time.
That's true.
Ever since then, though, they've always looked.
Once he being dead for Golden Guardians is very, very bad.
They might lose.
What's worse, the count or the death?
I think the count situation is still worse for Echo, but the death plus the death timer, maybe it's in favor of Echo.
I think, by the way, I think to get back to being able to pull count, you have to
behind
jump
on
off
the
cliff and die.
And they have to
in
go
which case, the death differential will no longer be much in their favor.
Yeah, and that's a good point the dude just made. If they do the fucking, if they kill themselves and go back to the beginning,
gonna get this boss
it'll
killed
fucking
first, right?
put
Same
the penalty
health, but they have an
beyond
extra
fucking.
damage dealer alive.
Yeah.
Should mean that Echo can get the boss killed a little bit first, and then they'll have 30 seconds plus however long it takes Golden Guardians to kill the boss, right? To go and get the trash count they need.
Well, I don't think they will have that 30 seconds, right? I think they have to have 5 deaths.
Yeah, if they jump off, then they'll have 5 seconds plus the difference in the boss dying, which is a lot less time.
Well, we'll see here very shortly. This boss is not long for this world. Just one. They might not even get to the next T-buff on the boss. They might finish it off beforehand. But it's going to be really rough. If Echo does indeed have to jump off the cliff to get back to trash, this is going to be a win for Golden Guardians. All they have to do is finish off the last 5% of the boss. Echo even pulling ahead at the very end here, but it's going to be too little too late.
And there we go. Let's see if they can find the trash.
They're not going to jump off, so they do have those 30 seconds.
Okay.
The portal there.
I mean,
this is so far away from any trash.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, where is even the trash?
How far back do they have to go? Do they have trash in this room that they could pull?
It looks like they're in combat as well.
Yeah, they can't mount up.
Yeah, Andy's not mounted. Oh, no, he is. All right.
Oh, they can jump down to the first boss's area. Okay.
Okay, the timer stopped.
Yep,
the timer
started.
Yeah,
Here we go.
Look at the
20
top.
20 seconds.
Can Echo kill 0.6% count?
One dread pedal. One dread pedal. That's all we need. There it is.
There it is.
Okay, they get in combat. Sap one of them.
10 seconds.
Mirrors immediately opens on one. 10 seconds to
think
kill this flower.
Is it two?
Oh, it's dying fast. It's dying fast.
Wait.
Oh,
they
got it.
Win. 4
Damn.
seconds to spare with their
4
count
seconds.
mishap there. Well played by Echo.
Oh my god.
What a finish.
We knew man.
Nigga, I think we knew all
Yo,
along.
Gari's pissed. He turned over his cam.
Okay, so who would be the
Alright,
MVP of that? Even?
Later, bro. Oh, what the fuck? There we go. Oh. Take a shower and shit still. Fuck.